Check, check, mic check. What up, dudes? This is an impromptu live stream. I don't really have a topic, so we can talk about buttholes or how, like, the current state of women is that they all are used up. Scotty side, what's up, dude? Indy, what's up? Migta Outlaw, Real Talk. I put the link in there. Everybody can come in. This is like a substitute for Father Saunders After Hours, so there's no rules, complete freedom of speech. You can talk about whatever the fuck you want. I don't care if this channel gets deleted. This is a free speech forum. I have one real talk. Okay, there you are. What up, bro? What's happening, brother? How you doing?
Good, man. How are you doing tonight?
Just chilling.
Yeah, appreciate you coming on here. I was gonna fire it up because I'm not restricted anymore, but yeah, we could chop it up. I'm sure the brothers want to have a good laugh, good mix of thought and laugh because last night was just fucking pure therapy.
Dude, that shit had me fucking dying laughing. Like, cause after I got off, I think it was you that was like playing the farts for like 2 hours, bro. That shit had me fucking crying.
That was really.
What was it, Riggs too?
Yeah, Riggs had like some modulator where he could just get like a quick one in. He could draw it out for like 8 seconds. He just had like this whole soundboard of farts, and he knew exactly like when to cue the perfect fart. Like Indy was trying to talk about some serious issues, but he was saying, he's like, this is some serious shit, guys. And then fucking Riggs comes through with like the longest fucking fart. You know, the one that leaves fucking a streak in the underwear.
Yeah, it sounded like sloppy diarrhea, dude. It was fucking great. That was fucking entertaining, bro. Like Saunders, he was like geeking out so bad he couldn't even like keep it under control. That shit's so funny. But it was like what you said, like the beginning of the stream, it was like red pills were being dropped, and then like everybody went to bed, so all the retards came out, and I was one of the I was one of the retards. I thought it was the first time I came on there with that butthole avatar. I couldn't say anything because I was just laughing because I was watching the butthole on my screen. Like I don't know. I'm like I got the sense of humor of a fucking 5-year-old dude. I laugh at fucking
I appreciate farts
and jacking off.
Where was that 180s? Was it 80s song? The freaks come out at night. The freaks come out at night. The rewrite is the retards come out at night.
Yeah.
The retards come out at night.
Absolutely. I'm gonna look up the Terrence and Phillip Uncle Fucker song.
Yeah, that one was good.
We can play that just for shits and giggles. I like I'm still learning how to use StreamYards. Let's see.
Yeah. You on the PC or you on mobile?
Right now I'm on a PC. It's an old MacBook. It's like from 2011. Let me see something real quick. Share screen. But yeah, we can talk about red pill shit too. We don't have to be completely retarded the whole time. It's like I said, this is just an open. It's basically like the same thing that Father Saunders does. It's like we can talk about whatever.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead. I can see it. I can see everything. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm like gonna play the Uncle Fucker song.
Let it rip.
This movie might not be appropriate for your little ones.
Hey, he says this movie isn't appropriate for you.
Look, Mr. Homeless Guy, if you don't want to buy us tickets and not get your $10 and not go buy yourself a bottle of vodka, then be my guest.
6 tickets, please.
Let me have some candy, Cartman. Oh, let's see. Nope, I don't have any Jewish candy. Why do you really need all that chocolate, fat boy?
Hooray! Say, Terrence, what did the Spanish priest say to the Uranian gynecologist?
I don't know, Philip. What? You're such a pig fucker, Philip. What did he say?
Terrence, why would you call me a pig fucker?
Well, let's see. First of all, you fuck pigs.
Oh, yeah.
Well, fuck my ass and call me a bitch.
Oh, you shit-faced cockmaster.
Wow. shit-faced cockmaster. Listen, you donkey raping shit eater. Donkey raping shit eater.
Donkey baby shit eater.
You'd fuck your uncle.
You'd fuck your uncle.
Shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker. You're a cocksucking ass-licking Uncle Fucker. You're an Uncle Fucker. Yes, it's true. Nobody fucks uncles quite like you.
Shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker. You're the one that fucked your uncle, Uncle Fucker. You don't eat or sleep or mow the lawn. You just fuck your uncle all day long.
What's going on there?
What's garbage?
Well, what do you expect? They're Canadian.
You fucked your uncle yesterday. Uncle Fucker. That's U-N-C-L-E. Fuck you, Uncle Fucker. Suck my balls.
Dude, that movie was
Yeah, dude, that's a fucking work of art right there.
It's classic.
For any of the Susans that may watch this in the future, yeah, I grew up watching fucking South Park and like Tom Green movies and shit. So like this fucking PC fucking social justice warrior society we live in today it's fucking retarded, dude.
Yeah, I noticed everything got soft around the same time they started like taking competition and losing out of the equation for your like young people, whether you're a girl or a boy. I was playing in these church basketball tournaments, even though like I could have played school. I had just a lot more fun playing football, and then like in the wintertime fucking around in these church leagues. And you know, you met some bitches too, so it was kind of cool. But basically, my brother, he has me about like 3 years, and the fucking somehow there's a loophole to where he was still able to play his freshman year in college because like where his birthday fell. So we like swept all these tournaments, and there was like huge 25 to 28 team tournaments, and it was super competitive. We're talking about, you know, kids from 14 to 18 in like 25 to 28 different cities, like coming together and playing in a competitive tournament. After we won 2 of the biggest tournaments ever, because it was unfair, like we all could have played school basketball, but they completely dismantled all this shit. They went from 25 to 28, sometimes 30 teams down to 8 at most, because parents were starting to complain about their kid not winning and their kid's feelings getting hurt. And I think that's like one of the greatest learning lessons is when you lose in competitive sports. You know, failure is a great tool to learn, and it's a great way to like turn one's behavior around to get better. Without that failure, without being a loser, and knowing what it feels like to lose, it's like, how the fuck can you actually compete, get better, and grow? They took the competition, they took the loser aspect and winner aspect out, and it's all about creating this one monolithic group of little fucking babies who are governed by their feelings.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. It's the gynocentric fucking system. But hey, Indy, I don't know if you can hear me. I know you're trying to come in here, but it says your device is not connected. Oh wait, now it doesn't. Okay, here you go. Hey, what's up, Indy?
What up?
Can you hear us, brother?
I had to unmute myself.
Oh, you're good, man. What's happening?
Wonder what happened to Saunders, man. That's not like him.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, man. I was waiting for him to come on. It might be because of the farts. I don't know. Maybe he wants us to keep the farts in my territory, which is totally fine. You guys can rip ass all you want, unless you got something you want to talk about, Indy.
Well, I was wondering if Scotty sent him feet pics and he just forgot about us?
Yeah, that could have been it, dude.
That's what I'm thinking.
They're sending each other pics. That's all right. Whatever you got to do to keep these hoes away from you.
But
Yeah, I'm
no,
not.
thank you for starting this up.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. I'm cool with just bullshitting. I work night shift anyway, so I'm always up this late. I wasn't really planning on doing a stream, but fuck it. You guys fucking killed me, dude. It's crazy because I just found the Manosphere like probably like a year ago, and I was kind of just like a lurker, just watching videos and shit. I didn't really find like the community of guys till like a couple months ago, and it's just crazy to me that there's so many guys that think the same way I do. It's still surreal to me, honestly.
Yeah, that's where I'm at also. It's kind of like you don't have anybody to talk to.
Yeah, and if you do try to talk to them about red pill stuff, they just get pissed off and attack you and like shit like that. So yeah, it was like what Real Talk was saying. It's like therapy, dude, because you can't fucking talk about this shit nowhere else. So I know you said yesterday that you've been married twice, but Real Talk, how did you come across the red pill? Like, what's your background?
Well, truth be told, I had been in a long-term relationship for like 5 years. I was the dude in college who was fucking sticking and moving. I would try to have a rotation of 2 to 3, as much as like my schedule would handle. And essentially, bear with me, I'm about to start driving here, but essentially, I had this is like before Facebook, or I'm sorry, this is before Instagram really took off in like 2013, and I was still able to like rely upon my like looks and shit. Hold up, my fucking Bluetooth just got all fucked up. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Let me figure this shit out. But I'll finish this story and then I'll figure this shit out. But more or less, I was able to rely upon my fucking looks and like minimalistic game because it really didn't require much. You know, when you're 6'2" and you've got that build, whatever. Get into a long-term relationship. I start my first business, and it was actually kind of cool because, how can I say, this bitch kind of did her own thing. She wasn't like strong and independent, but she worked a lot, and how can I say, it was purely carnal, mostly sexual, and we really didn't have to do much. She'd just come over, you know, we'd smash, but I don't know, the vasopressin or whatever it was started to get released after a few years, and I started to take her seriously. She's like the first creature I ever said I loved, and I kind of noticed her after like maybe year 5. I wasn't really had no intentions of getting married or really having kids because I couldn't justify it at the time with like how shitty I thought the world was at that time, and it's even worse today. But long story short, she changed up work and had to have gotten a work husband. The creature cheated on me, and basically it kind of shot me back into fuckboy mode. As soon as the creature cheated on me, and I knew it for a fact, like I could just tell from how she was, you know, how she had changed up. I ended up smashing some Starbucks barista probably within like 2 or 3 days of like confirming the situation. Can you guys still hear me? Because I can't hear you anymore.
Yeah, we can hear you. We're just listening
okay.
to your story.
Okay. Oh, damn. Then it's pretty clean. Then you guys are. I can't really hear too much, but nevertheless, I fucking just got in the back and forth between, you know, the makeup to breakup type shit, and once she knew that I, you know, could still get other fucking bitches if I wanted to, then she started to want me again. I knew it was never going to be the same, so I got out of that bullshit. And then I actually, maybe 2 years after that, of like doing like casual dating and relationship bullshit, never getting anything into seriousness, I started to realize like the dating marketplace had changed. I started to notice that these creatures became more godlike, more of deities instead of human beings. And I realized, like, is it the dating apps? Like, what is like getting these creatures' heads so big? So it makes sense. But after that long-term relationship, I was just kind of doing the same fuckboy shit for 2 years, but I wasn't working out like I was. I was focused more on business, and I was being more introspective. And I noticed as I became more spiritual and less worldly, I started to notice that the creature wasn't as into me as when they were in college. When I had nothing, when I was a complete fuckboy turd, basically Chad, at that point, they wanted 100% of me. But when I became spiritual, more introspective, started to build myself up and be a quote unquote good man, not a nice guy, but a good man, I started to see that like they didn't have that lustful desire like Eve did for the serpent. And at that point, once I found this, it started all to make sense. But even then, it took me about a year to digest this shit, to really see how evil this entity, this animal, this beast really is. And it, thanks to a lot of big channels out there, it'd be hard to fucking name them, but yeah, that's kind of it, man. Long term relationship. Said I loved someone for the first time, got confirmed cheated on for the first time, without a doubt cheated on, and then realized how the creature's head got so big and she became a god, and that my Chadley looks and persona were no longer good enough. I had to be Superman. So I guess I just don't want to sell my soul to be these creatures Supermen, is why I 100% monk. I just actually broke it off with the only creature that I was fucking with yesterday, and it feels great. I mean, I'm a free bird, gentlemen.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're not worth dealing with anymore, man. It's like I'm kind of like you. Like, I'm not like a incel or anything like that. Like, I'm actually a former PUA, and it's like I still get like messages from women to this day, but it's like after taking the red pill and consuming this content, it's like, dude, I just don't even have the fucking motivation to even pretend I give a fuck about anything they have to say.
Yeah,
Well,
especially if they could be satisfied, that would be one thing. But there's nothing that you can do. If God can't satisfy this creature, how could you ever? And that pill is the hardest one to swallow. But once you realize it, you're going to start to save yourself a lot of time.
yeah, because you can't outwork their lust for money. You can't. It'll just drive you into the ground.
Exactly. So, Indy, you say you've been married twice?
Yep.
So, like, you just didn't learn after the first marriage? You just didn't.
Well, I was raised, by good parents and everything like that, where you stayed together for 40 years until death. So that's what I thought it was. And we was married for 15, 16 years and 4 kids. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was the picket fence and everything like that. And it just fell apart. And then the second one was strictly lust. Trust me. Yeah, I was like Brand True Blood, man. She was hot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's one of those where, oh, she loves me. She's different. No. Guys, it's not like that. So I just, I didn't know any of this red pill shit. It's one of those. And after the second divorce, I started to look like Hermit said. I started looking what's wrong with me. And once you start getting this information, and it's like, wait a minute, it's not me. And you
Right.
start realizing it's like they're not worth it.
No, they're not.
I mean,
So I'm guess did you get red pilled by your second wife, or did you just figure it out from like finding MGTOW content?
the second divorce, I went and started on this journey of self improvement, and it was like, what's where did I fuck up? It's kind of like I was wondering why I fucked up, and it's like I didn't fuck up. It's these women. You know, they're just insatiable, and they are
Yeah.
creatures.
Yeah,
And
they really
Yeah.
are.
once you
Subhuman.
once you start improving yourself and getting all the funk out of your mind and everything, you're like, I'm going monk. Look, it ain't worth it, because any kind of relationships and things of that nature in the current society, they can take it from you. I mean, if you cohabitate and they get a piece of mail at your house, you're hooked, guys. I'm telling, just a piece of mail at your house.
Yeah, yeah. At that point, they're like legally resident there, and you can't just kick them out.
Yeah, it's so rigged against you that if you participate, you're going to fucking lose.
Yep. It
Uh,
really is, man. And what's crazy about it is once you start figuring this shit out, you start seeing that like every avenue of society supports this shit, whether they know it or not.
well, what got me is, call me naive, ignorant, or whatever. Your wife can sign for your credit cards even though she's not on the signature card or anything like that. She can sign your credit cards, guys.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, because I called the bank and I was like, why are you allowing her signature to go through on this card? Because I got to pay for it. Well, she's not on the signature card. I had my own credit card. And they said, well, you're married.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So, Indy, are you an AWOLT guy?
Yes.
Yeah, me too, man.
I
I don't
mean, I
I
would
don't think
like
there's I don't think there's any exceptions.
I would like to say that I have seen good women, but the whole thing of it is the laws and everything like that, they can do it, you know?
Right. And no one's perfect, you know what I mean? That's a hard temptation to deny. It's like all I got to do is choose whether or not to take this guy for everything he's got. You know what I'm saying? Even if they are a quote unquote good woman, it's that easy for them to just ruin your life.
Yeah. Guys,
So,
I've seen it. It's you gotta, if you involve yourself with women, that's the reason I'm monk and I'm AWOL. It's just like you gotta, if you start getting into that sphere, you got a gun at your head.
oh yeah, absolutely, man. I actually had a kid with a modern 304, and it didn't even hit me until my son was like 4 years old that I was trapped. That's when I started looking at MGTOW content, and then I found I was already kind of red pilled before, but it was like what you were saying earlier, like you can't talk to nobody about it. So like I always had the doubt, like maybe I'm just crazy for thinking the way I do. But then I found red pill content. But yeah, dude, it's like once you get in a situation where you have kids or cohab or marriage, you're basically an indentured servant at that point, unless you want to pay child support and alimony. Real talk, you're so lucky you don't have any kids yet, and you already know this stuff.
Yeah, man. It's real fortunate I came across this shit when I did. Um, but yeah, I'm I couldn't be more thankful. It's not to rub it in your guys' face or anything, but it's just like the timing is impeccable.
Well,
Go ahead, Indy.
what a lot of people don't understand or realize too, which, like I said, I'm older. Your daughters can get you in trouble. You know, I mean, even like I had daughters live with me, and it's like they turned like woke, going to BLM things and stuff like that. Guys, your own daughters can get you in trouble. They can call. I got yelled at because I posted something on Facebook positive about Trump. And it's like, I got to thinking about it. She can call the police and they'll come in here just for me posting about Trump.
Yeah, I mean, even your sisters, your moms, like they're hive. Women are hive-minded. But we got
Hey, Z.
CDP drunk in here. What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, I just wanted to say one thing that pisses me off. Like, guys will put themselves on the line, put themselves vulnerable as fuck on the line, and women don't give a shit. They just fucking shit all over it. It just fucking pisses me off. So I came in here just to say that.
What pisses you off, the women or the men?
Oh, the women, because I mean, the men have all the sacrifice, and and they put themselves out there farther than fuck. And then next thing you know, not only do they not break even, they screw them in the back and make sure that it's detrimental to the rest of their lives. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. So like, if you don't mind me asking, how did you find my channel?
From I started with Hamster actually,
Oh, okay.
and Hamster ended up with Saunders. Saunders ended up with somewhere with you along. So
Right on. Cool, man. I just wasn't sure if you were like a new guy because I've been making these like fart shorts that have been getting like thousands of views, and I've been getting a bunch of subs. So there might be like
I'm new to you, bud. Like today.
Right on. Well, welcome. Oh shit! I just fucking hit the wrong. Oh, okay. Well, cool, man.
Hey,
I'm glad you're here. Go
hey,
ahead, Indy.
Easy, I got a question for you.
For Easy
Easy, yeah.
in the chat.
Is he is he still here? Easy,
Uh,
you here?
is this Easy we're talking to?
I'm
Yeah,
crazy
Eric
drunk
Zumbro.
pedestrian, CDP drunk.
Yeah, this isn't. Yeah, that's not Easy. Easy's in the chat though. What's up, Indy? What do you want to ask him?
Oh, my bad. No, I thought Easy had like he got custody of his daughters.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I heard him talking about that on a live stream.
No, I've just had trouble with my daughters to where it's like, why are you such bitches?
Well, how old are they?
Oh, dude, they're 23 and 27.
Yeah, they're modern Western women. They've been indoctrinated to be bitches. I say that from the perspective of, like, I got sisters, and my dad, he like tries to sympathize with them, and I just tell him like they're cunts. Like, just because they're your daughters doesn't mean you should give them an exception to the rule. I'm pretty brutal.
Well, see, that's the bitch of it is. I had custody of them, and so I raised them, and it's just like it's really, guys, it's kind of like an animal. If you raise an animal and it turns on you, you got to put it down. You know what I mean? Because it becomes a danger to you. I grew up in livestock and everything like that. If an animal turns on you, you have to put it down because you can never trust it.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's they are trained to turn on you. So yeah, I mean, it's like the hypergamous nature that doesn't stop because you're their dad. You know what I mean? It's like it overrides everything. All they care about is themselves.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. It's like you could. I look at women like, and this sounds bad, but like livestock, you can raise it from a baby up to adulthood, but if it turns on you, you have to deal with that. You have to put it down, slaughter it. You got to do something to get that out of there because it will hurt you.
Right. Yeah, I've thought about.
Yeah.
I'm a dad too. I've thought about that with if my son grows up and his mom turns him into like a male feminist or some shit, and he like wants to kill me because he thinks I'm the patriarchy or some shit. I'd have to cut my son out of my life too. What were you gonna say?
Yeah.
Real talk.
There's which is it? It's the I would say, I'm always shouting out to him, but he touches on the succubus, and the succubus is that entity from the ancient world that they've turned all of these women into. Like, how can I say, before feminism, let's just put it like this: feminism is the conglomeration of all the old ancient world female dominated cultures such as Babylon, Rome, Greece primarily, and it's like mixed into a pot, and they've used this and they've deployed it during feminism to derail the patriarchy, to derail the progression of mankind. They're solely a destructive force. We know women are agents of chaos, but after the chaos, it's destruction. So how can a creature build anything or be in a position to have a job that gives her any say-so or dominion over a man? Because most of these women don't respect the men that they're in relationships that they make more money than. How can you give such a creature power to dominate when she's naturally destructive? She needed the patriarchy to even have a wholesome life because she could never make decisions for herself. So when we're dealing with an entity, a demonic entity from the ancient world that destroyed those civilizations, we're talking about, and she has technology at her hands. She has a vehicle where she can drive thousands of miles. So she doesn't have to fucking travel via horse or chariot. She can fly. She can be worldwide. She can be the most worldly demonic entity that this earth has ever seen. So we're dealing with something that is like truly empowered to consume on you. So in this video, the energy vampirism of the succubus, Ram says this creature or this being like lurks among you like a roaring lion that wants to feast, that wants to feed on you. They've been programmed to dismantle all that is good and to essentially make as much chaos so that they can get the destruction. Like, destruction makes the succubus happy. She loves seeing calamity in others. That's why women love hearing gossip and negative news. Like men, we like to hear positive things. We don't feed off the negativity. This creature feeds off of negativity. It feeds off of darkness. Anytime there's light, she's going to give you darkness. Anytime there is hope, she's going to give you despair. That's how she's been programmed. So it's like these beings, these creatures, these animals, they don't understand how heavily programmed they are and how this goes back thousands of years. They can't wrap their mind around it, but it is the greatest mind control agent, letting them live their best life, letting them be empowered, letting them think that they can build something when innately within all that they have, the only tools that they have is to destroy. Have you guys ever had a conversation where a woman doesn't want to lie, deceive, and use deflection upon you? Have you ever been in a conversation, a serious conversation, where lies, deflection, and deceit aren't used?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Because of the structure that I was.
before you say something, I want to uh, give Real Talk something.
Red pill assault.
Go
No,
ahead,
what I
Indy.
was going to say is because I'm older and I was brought up in a convention or an old style family where the women, grandmothers, and everything, they were feminine. They, took care of the household and everything like that. And it just, it wasn't like it is today, the way I was brought up, though I am older. And
Well, let me ask you something, Indy. Those feminine, submissive women, did they have strong men leading them?
yes, yes,
Exactly. That's
it,
why.
very strong. I mean, it was one of those kind of things where you didn't fuck with the guys. You didn't go there.
Right.
The kids, you didn't tell mom no, because if you told mom no, she would tell dad.
Right. Yeah, and that's how it's
Okay,
supposed to be.
Indy. So you're actually not describing a succubus. A succubus is a rebellious demon. Those women weren't rebellious. They were actually there to aid, cheerlead, and push the men uh, for the rebellion. Like a good woman, a wholesome woman, a Proverbs 31 woman, she'll always be submitted to her man and she'll be subjugated to him. She won't be rebellious to him. These modern women are rebellious. So these women that you're describing, they're not creatures. They're not succubi. They're what a woman should be, just a subject, and not in a negative light, but there has to be headship, and it only can be performed by a man because the man has the biological hardwiring to be the head. He's more logical and he's stronger. So I think we agree that there have been women that aren't rebellious demons. Those are true women. When they don't rebel and they help the men in the rebellion, like for instance, let's say the people that we've discussed in the conversation on Good Mother Stream, the pieces of crap that are just turn the world upside down to turn it into hell on earth. The people who have given the women the power, more or less, the men are supposed to lead the rebellion against that evil force, and the women are supposed to wife 100%.
No, see, that's what I'm saying is my mother never needed for anything. Grandmothers, they never need for anything. If they wanted something, all they had to do is ask and they got it. But it wasn't, it was because the men is providing for them and the men understood, look, you're taking care of the household. We'll provide for the household. We'll make sure everyone's got everything they need, but they maintain the household, the discipline. And when the man came home, it's like it didn't matter. 3 a.m., they're cooking a meal, they're doing something.
Yeah, the reason it worked back then is because there wasn't all these laws that were restricting men. It's after they made like no fault divorce and, child support and all this other shit to where the women had an out. You didn't have to be submissive to your husband. So once they had that out, that's when all these fucking modern, bitches that think that their shit don't stink started being created because that's when they started not getting any consequences for their actions. So that's why MGTOW is so awesome because it's like now we know that's what it is. We don't have to fucking deal with this bullshit anymore.
Well, I
Yeah,
actually think back then there was an honest appreciation between the male and female and husband and wife. That's the reason they stayed married till death. There was an actual appreciation for each
Yeah.
other.
And to that, I want to say a lot of that has to do with the fact that men are weak now. Not only were they trying to empower women, they've been trying to emasculate men for so long that now, like at my work, I'm the only guy at my work that isn't a cuck or a virgin. All the guys I work with are either like 30-year-old virgins or they're married to single moms or their wives openly cheat on them. Like that's the state of men today. And that's a lot of why the women are so pissed off is because there are no real men. And I'm not saying that in like a, feminist way. I'm saying like really that like the men have been cucked out and feminized, all the simps and manginas and shit.
Yeah,
so that's go ahead.
I was just gonna say, the only way I've gotten any of these creatures to submit, modern creatures, is them like getting like destroyed, plowed. I mean, just ran through sexually. Like I just have to dominate these bitches. So it has to be like, how can I say? They always perceive me as like a good guy, who as a person who has his shit together, because I really don't have time to play fuckboy anymore. That takes a lot of effort. And it's like after they get plowed, they're like, oh, you'll fuck me better than any bad boy. And it's like, I think that's the only thing that keeps them in check, is like they know if I pull the sex away, then that's like their outlet for their highest state of pleasure, because that's all they really care about, is being pleasured. Like, let's be honest, like it's all about them feeling the what life in this world has to offer them. So when you have them drunk on pleasure, when you have like, how can I say, when the only way you can get them to submit is the D game, we're in fucking trouble. Like that is the end times right there. So like I really have to say, you really can't get these creatures in line unless you fuck them into oblivion. And even after you do that, for like the next day, you're tired. You're all fucked out. You can't be productive. So no matter what, whether you're Chad or you're a simp, she's gonna drain you.
Yeah, that's what I was
the
gonna
problem.
say. It's like even when you're the guy that's giving them the dick the way they want it, all you're doing is adding fuel to the fire, because
Exactly.
now you've made yourself an addiction for them.
Yep,
And
exactly. And you can't get rid of them after they're addicted to you. Like
Right.
I had to, for 4 weeks now, I had to degrade the relationship between this creature and I, because it's Black Ram's method called pump and let the creature dump. The catch and release method, like the animal she is. You fucking you suck her in, and then after you get her wrapped around you in the way that you need to, you start to implement these red pills, not forcefully, but you basically let them know, I'm a minimalistic person. I don't really care to keep up with the Joneses. I want to live off grid. And the moment they start to hear that you don't want this big house, you don't want these crazy cars, you don't want to live this fast lifestyle, they start to get turned off within. They're like, huh? He's not like the rest of these guys. And at that point, she starts to have a disdain for you, and she will dump you. You can drive these creatures to the point where they no longer have a need for you, because there's so many other simps and or chads that want to entertain them. She gets sick of your spiritualness. She gets sick of you not fitting in with the worldly system. You stick out like a sore thumb to her. You are an outlier, and she doesn't like that. She needs to have all of her cards in her hands so she can always be holding the royal flush. And when you're the joker on the outskirts, she has to throw the joker out of her hand. So it's always about pumping and letting her dump. And in the eyes of God, believe it or not, pump and dump, God doesn't like that. But when you pump and she dumps, what can God say?
Yeah, he's trying to cheat God over here. Yeah, I'm like that too, dude. You have to make them think it's their decision, or they'll fucking try to ruin your life.
Exactly.
But yeah, dude, that makes me think of this.
And two last points. When I say rebellion, I'm talking about shit tests. That's rebellion.
Dude,
Indy, back in the day, when a date was made between a man and a woman, there was no cell phones, there was no social media, there was no beepers, no pagers, no two ways, no none of that. When you said 7 o'clock sharp, it was 7 o'clock sharp. You weren't there. You weren't showing up late. You weren't. You know what I'm saying? Like all that shit
Exactly.
was and that was respect. So let's just put it like this: you couldn't flake. Flaking is rebellion. Saying, "Oh, if you don't give me the money, then you can't have the honey," i.e., the vag. That's rebellion. So we can say all of the modern women behaviors to where they give you fuss and they're not willing to cooperate. When they're not willing to cooperate, they are rebelling. It could be the smallest degree of uncooperative behavior or it could be the largest degree. Nevertheless, from top to bottom, just depending on how they feel about you, if you're some, 5'5" or however short, the shortest guy on the dating marketplace is, if you're that guy and you have all these things that aren't going for you, she's going to be even more rebellious. But how can I say it? Their rebellion is directly correlated to the amount of pleasure that they perceive that they can get from the man. So if he's better looking, she's less rebellious, and more cooperative. If he's least attractive, she's going to rebel more. She's going to fucking put that guy through the ringer. So it's literally a linear relationship tied to her pleasure is her rebellion and her cooperativeness. It's like such a creature that we have to deal with. How can she literally have a soul when she's hardwired this way?
Well, see, back in the day and everything, it was, excuse me, is survival. It's like you had to survive, you had kids and everything like that. It was up to you to work together to survive and progress and do these things. But now, the way society is and everything like that, they got Section 8 housing and everything like that. They don't need a man to survive, if you will. You take all that away, and it would change a lot of things.
yeah, that really is why it doesn't work now. It's not just that, it's also that like back in the day, if a woman wasn't a virgin on her wedding day, she was a whore. And that like social shaming doesn't exist anymore. So they're just giving it up and that's why what Real Talk was talking about, like how they can use sex to control men. You couldn't you They used to not be able to do that because people weren't having sex until they were married.
Well,
Yep.
that and uh, it was more long term. It wasn't. You know, sex was kind of like icing on the cake because it was like survival.
Right.
And guys, and that's what I'm saying. I talked to my grandmother that lived through the depression, and she goes, "Look, you know, when you're hungry and there's things of that nature, it's like you as a man and a wife and trying to feed your kids, you had to work together because you can't go out there and step out and think that daddy government's going to give you something."
Yep. That's it right there. It's all this shit is intentional. The government did all this shit on purpose because it basically we're living through like I almost want to say a communist takeover. They basically just want everybody living on welfare checks, and the best way to do that is to de-incentivize the nuclear family.
Yeah, global communism is essentially worldwide revolution. But this revolution isn't for the betterment of the planet. It's for the utmost destruction of the planet.
Right. It's yeah, it's just about control. Like there's like investment firms that are overpaying for real estate so that way houses are no longer affordable for middle class families. They're basically trying to choke out the middle class and make it the elites and the poor, basically.
Yep. Just like before the Bolshevik Revolution, the proletariat, the bourgeoisie, and what did Klaus Schwab say? You're gonna own nothing and be happy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really what they want. Because like if you look at the housing market today, dude, unless you make 6 figures a year, it's not even fucking possible to own a home.
Nope.
Unless you want to be like house poor, where it's like all your money is going towards a fucking house.
Yeah, and that's the whole part of this that I just can't understand or wrap my mind around. How many simps? I mean, just think about since Dodge came out with the when they really brought back the Hemi, and they have the SRT and the Demon and the Hellcat and all this other shit. How many motherfuckers, white, black, Mexican, Arab, you name it, are doing everything just to be able to afford payments for that car as a status symbol so that they can procure some creature that's just going to use them for a temporary fix, and then they'll be on to the next fuckboy. Like, even with the cars that these men aspire to be able to own one day and drive one day, it's like they're willing to get in a payment system for a house, for an apartment, for a car as a means to gain the validation of the creature. And they don't realize they're not building anything for themselves. They're putting it into something that's not tangible, that's not really going to pay off. Like, at least with like a good real estate investment, you know, there's equity there. But with a car or a lease or a bullshit fucking apartment, like, just, okay, I want to move in this high-rise apartment because it's in the best part of town and I'll be able to get the most pussy and bring back the most pussy to my place. These men aren't investing in themselves. They're investing in the little head that gets to rocket off some fucking zinc shots every so often, and that is their sole purpose, is pleasure. It's the hedonistic society that we have been programmed to be through the wants and desires of the creature once she became empowered in the 60s. That's what's really governing us, is like the little head. There is no big head thinking men. Those men are on these panels. Those men are in these spaces. We've had to cut off that biological urge and desire to be the big man, you know, to want to have as much sex and pleasure, because of the fact that we've had to realize that is our ultimate vice. But women, they've gotten to have their ultimate cake and eat it too. Women don't have a vice with sex. It's actually what empowers them. Men, it's nothing but disempowering. Unless you're trying to have a kid, sex is disempowering to you, because every time you bust a nut, you're lowering your testosterone. That's the only thing that makes you a man. That's the only thing that really gives you the superhuman strength, the intellect, and the logic to navigate through this hell on earth, this nightmare. So I get so fucking pissed off with this 1980s PUA mentality of, you know, what makes you a man is how much you can get your dick wet. You know, you got to be a big man. And it's just like, come on, man. Like, I've had to realize that, yeah, sex is fun, but it's only fun to my detriment. What is fun about losing, being a loser? And it doesn't matter which way you cut it. That zinc shoots out of you, you just lost zinc. I hate to say that zinc is what we run off of, but when our testosterone drops, we turn into females.
Yeah, but I will say, if you have to control your biology, you're better off beating off than sticking it in a modern Western thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. You have to. You have to use that as an outlet.
That's what I'm saying, guys. I'm older, and it's like, look, you can't build personal wealth and everything like this, and it can be robbed from you. It's literally robbed from you. and it can be robbed from your kids. So it's like, why put yourself out there?
Yeah, I mean, you can't saving money and being involved with women at the same time is literally not possible unless you're a fucking millionaire because they spend more money than they make. That's why the United States is like what, like $30 trillion in debt. I guarantee you that 98% of that is women buying shit they don't need to impress other women. And simps trying to impress the women as well.
Why do you think all the advertisement is for the household, which it has been since like the 60s? Washers and dryers and this, that, and the other. Because they know the women of the household really generate the cash flow, money velocity.
Yep. Yeah,
Why do you think
the less time a woman's spending doing dishes and doing laundry, the more time she's spending thinking about shit she wants to buy or smuggling salamis or swallowing zinc.
Yeah,
It's all about freeing up the woman.
it's about freeing up the woman, therefore they can increase money velocity to
Yep.
move it through the economy. And then the men's out making the money to bring it home to the women. And then, I mean, guys, this has been engineered.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
impulsive. The impulsive spending habits of the creature are what drives this runaway freight train of consumerism that we live in with the United States.
Yep. That's why I think MGTOW and minimalism go hand in hand. I live in a small ass apartment. I drive a 25-year-old car. Like, I literally make my monthly bills in a week, and I don't even make a lot of money. It's just because I don't fucking buy a bunch of dumb shit. I don't need to impress women. I got extra money.
Oh yeah, that's how Island was able to like get this whole Hawaii move up and running. Is like, he'll admit that like he wasn't like poor, or like, it's not like he didn't get any help, but it's the dedication and discipline to true freedom. Because minimalistic self-preservation is true freedom. When you're living for yourself and your own validation, then there really isn't a system that can suck you into it because you are your own system as a minimalist.
Right. It's really a great tool, especially when you're a MGTOW. Because, like, in this world, everything is designed to get you caught up in stupid shit. So, like, if you're consciously thinking about, conserving as much of your own resources as possible, you're able to see bullshit from a mile away.
Yeah. Only you can stop you as a minimalist because you've avoided all the traps that this rotted system had set out for you. That's the good thing about MIG. And I think that's why they want to shut down this space is it's helping men see the traps or the bridge that's out in front of them. And if men are able to avoid and essentially go their own way, become minimalist, less consumeristic, then this whole shit show of a propped up consumeristic economy, it's going to fall apart. Like us walking away not only takes the bridal shops into the floor, the jewelers into the floor, but the family courts into the floor, like everything, all of the impulse spending isn't possible when women are on their own because women can never save money. They never can. They're the worst spenders. So if there isn't a man toiling away to build up all this wealth for an insatiable creature to spend, how can a creature that's insatiable, who works on her own time, who's her own boss, she's strong and independent, how can that creature who doesn't save anything have like a large expenditure at one time? Like they're looking for the men with money to spend on big things, like that's where the New World Order really gets theirs, is like men's money being ripped away from them
and being put in the hands of the wife or the divorced wife. That's where the big spending comes in, because men, when we spend, we'll spend what we need to, and over a long period of time, it's all balanced out. Women, it's like as soon as there's excess of money, they're gonna spend that motherfucker down to where it's nothing, to where there's nothing left. So it's like a spending frenzy. You know, like how you'll see the crocodiles feasting on a fucking zebra at the feeding frenzy. No, it's a spending frenzy. They go from 100 to 0 in no time.
Yeah, I have a perfect example of this. I used to date this girl. She was always like, I had just started dating her. I noticed she was always broke. And then she finally got paid. And that day, she went to the mall, bought a shit ton of clothes, like hundreds of dollars worth of clothes, and then took all of her friends, including me, to Waffle House and bought us all Waffle House. She spent her entire check in one day. One fucking day. And then the next day, her car broke down and she didn't have any money to fix it. That's how that's how they are, dude.
They live day to day. That proves it, right? That story right there.
Yeah. All that money just went right back into the fucking system. That when I saw that, like I wasn't red pilled at the time, so I just thought, wow, this bitch is terrible with money. But now, like that I'm red pilled, I think about that shit. I'm like, dude, that's on purpose. She's like programmed to be like that.
It makes her feel good when she can take everything that she needs to survive on and blow it like a fucking child in a candy store.
Hey, I want to bring something up and get your guys' opinion on something.
Okay.
I was in MV's stream earlier, and you know how the Biden administration came up with this misinformation, whatever in the hell is going on. I was like they were saying, I really think they're going to go after MGTOW. I really, guys, MGTOW is getting so big. I think they're going to go after MGTOW because men are walking away. And they're like, I ain't putting up with your guys' shit. Which, if you look at some of the TikToks, things of that nature, where there's so many men saying, look, we're not putting up with this shit. I really think they're going to attack the manosphere. I really do.
Well, you could be right, but I do have my doubts about that, and that is because I think that the elites or whoever runs the world, I think they might be interested in depopulating. So MGTOW would actually be an asset to that agenda.
And I'm right in between on that. Truth be told, I've had both thoughts. What you just expressed, Indy, I've got like a mountain full of evidence that proves this. Like how, for instance, the liminal order, that the liminal order person that was charged up by Cuck Murphy, the Subway guy that was charged up by KS, and then this Coach Red Pill thing. I've got a lot of information, and even Fresh and Fraud. I've got the same sort of knowledge that exposes that all of them are glowy enterprises or operations. I've got a lot of knowledge on that. But then the devil's advocate in me looks at Ghost's side, and I'm kind of torn on this because I think they're going to what they're going to do is they're going to permaban or Alex Jones MGTOW Red Pill content that talks about fuck it. I'm not even going to say red pill because the red pill's been infiltrated by dating coaches and motherfuckers who are trying to keep you in relationships with these creatures. It's MGTOW that's they're going to put on the chopping block, and I think MGTOW is going to be considered the extremists to where they're going to create a false flag to get rid of MGTOW, to where on YouTube, YouTube, Twitter, all the big platforms that dominate social media interactions, MGTOW will be flushed. If you see MGTOW anything, it's going to get deleted. If you represent as a MGTOW, you're going to get deleted. And when you try to start another account, they're going to delete you instantaneously. Like the algorithms are going to be so steered to end MGTOW. I think it's the MGTOW that they're going to go after. They're going to let Red Pill continue, essentially because that's going to feed into relationships. But how can I say, the ghost perspective, I just don't know where that comes in, but I do have that in the back of my mind as in, yeah, depopulation, men going their own way. There isn't as many babies. But also, think about this, Ghost. If men go their own way and they don't have a creature that can be a liability during fallout, those men are going to survive, right? And how can I say? It's only going to be the creature that dies. You know, if the man had a creature to be a liability, they're probably both going to die. I don't know, man. It scrambles my fucking mind when I think about this shit in a big picture sense. But
well, it's kind of like both are right. Like they kind of want to have their cake and eat it too. Like they want to depopulate, but they also want to control men. So it's kind of both at the same time.
Well, see, you can get depopulation by just cutting off electron flow. You know what I mean?
Well, they want to depopulate without like, I mean, this is just me guessing. I don't actually know, but this is my theory: is that if their goal is to depopulate, they want to do it in a way to where it's not obvious, or you know what I'm saying?
Well, see, that's where I think that they want to depopulate, but they want depopulation in a controlled manner. But Mother Nature might have a different plan.
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, they don't, like, the people that are in control, they don't have control over everything. But I don't think Mother Nature is going to save us. A part of me, like, if the elite's plan is to depopulate, I don't know if it is or not, but if it is, I'm kind of on board with that, because there's a lot of retards out here that we'd all be better off without. I just hope that.
Yeah.
Well, see, Ghost, what I was saying is all you have to do is have a CME, coronal mass ejection, that will wipe out the Earth's grids. I mean, that's what I'm saying. This Earth can snap its fingers and we'll be in a world of shit. And I think they're wanting to control depopulation, but they can't control other things. So if you have a CME X-flare, guys, you know, you can go STEHF in a heartbeat.
Right, but they don't want to destroy the planet. They want to use the planet, and they want us to do all the shit jobs that they don't want to do. But they just don't want there to be traffic. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they want to keep the system going, but they don't want to deal with the extra bullshit.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying, is they don't want to deal with the extra bullshit, but Mother Nature might have, you know, nature of the earth or the sun or something like that can really throw a monkey wrench into stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, they're definitely going to have that, because we're talking about elites. Like the elites are really just human beings that just happen to be in positions of power. They're not God. They don't really have the final say on shit like that. But at the same time, I don't think that nature is going to like send a meteorite to like deflect their bullshit. You know what I mean?
No, I think he's saying that the meteorite is going to it's going to be like, the destruction's going to be out of the NWO's hands, essentially. I think that's what Indy's saying, is like, it's going to be an event that not even they can stop, But I will kind of side with you, Ghost, in saying that, or it kind of bridges the two. I'll say this: they've tested the pole shifts, like how the North Pole is going to shift in about 11 months. Like this is guaranteed to happen. This Maverick Star guy that Shinobi shared with the community has been tracking the poles for a while. So like I feel as if they have like laboratories that they've tested events that can happen naturally that would be doom and gloom, that would be shit hit the fan events that would be out of their control. So in my opinion, I think that they've tested everything thoroughly, and they could be using said events, as Indy is mentioning. They could be using said events to base their shit hit the fans sort of scenarios off of. Like, for instance, they could know that this pole shift that's coming up is seriously going to fuck us, and they're making sure that the climate amongst us socially, economically, right, is really, really fucked up, and it's like hell on earth. And then as soon as that pole shift happens, an event could happen, and they could have all their cards, all their ducks in a row in order to benefit off the chaos. Because that was the Democrat Rahm Emanuel's brother, or I think it was Rahm Emanuel himself, said you can't let a good crisis go to waste. They might know of these shit hits the fan, naturally occurring crises that the planet could bring about, and they're ready for them, and they're scripting around that. That's one thing that kind of connects the two. But at the same time, if something from outer space did come that they couldn't stop, like what's the movie, Armageddon, or what the fuck was it with Bruce Willis? I'm trying to think of the damn movie.
Tears of the Sun.
Armageddon.
It's Armageddon. Yeah. There could be something like that could completely foil their plan, but I don't know, man. It's just like these people, they have studied the Earth. They have studied us. They've got us in checkmate. I mean, they do have the weather in check. You can research chemtrails. Shout out to Mike Morales. He's a real good YouTube channel. Dutch Sense is another guy that shows you how they have controlled underground explosions, and they can actually cause earthquakes. And he's been studying this for many, many years, just like Mike Morales has been studying the chemtrails and other sort of things known as ionospheric heaters. And this guy will literally zoom in from Google Maps, and he'll show you an entire city is literally like they have antennas, satellite dishes that are the size of an entire city that are powered by millions, if not billions of watts, that can literally heat up the sky artificially, and they can steer cold fronts, heat fronts. They can do all this manipulation of our weather through the technology today. And the government actually came out in the mid-'70s and admitted to manipulating our weather. So I have firm belief that they have studied this planet. They know how it can fuck up, and they know how to build an event around such fuck-ups to really ensure that the average Joe, the normie, even people like us who are just ants on the ground that could get stepped out at any time, they'll ensure that it is near impossible for us to survive, while all their fucking people, all their agents, all of the people that they need to keep running the show are safe and sound. Look at all the billionaires and millionaires who've been building their bunkers, seeking refuge down in New Zealand, as far as away from everything. Why is that? Is there something coming that we're, not told about? You guys are bringing up some really good points, and it's the shit that makes my fucking mind spin. I'm like, Jesus, I can't put a finger on it. Like, I'm not certain. And when we're not certain, there's a part of us that is fearful, because you only fear what you don't understand. So it's not that I'm expecting this thing to happen tomorrow, but I know whatever they have in plan for us is going to be fucking horrible.
Well, see, that's why I was saying about a CME. And a CME, there's no predictability about it. The Carrington event.
Hold on. What is CME?
Coronal mass ejection.
Is that like a bomb?
It's basically when there's a solar flare that is directed towards Earth, it will fry everything. Look up the Carrington event. That's when the telegraph lines caught fire, and it's basically like an EMP. That's what the sun.
So they've like created their own solar flares.
No, it will be a solar flare
Oh, okay.
from the sun, but it has to be directed towards the Earth, the next flare. And it will fry every electronic thing you got. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
And-
I'm saying now.
Yeah, the current look up the Carrington event. It was like 1814, or I can't believe the date. I can't remember the dates. But if it fried telegraph lines, what's it going to do to the electronics, microelectronics, and everything on Earth currently? It will happen. It's just a matter of time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
when
it's like a brain aneurysm. There's just some shit that is out there that can kill you that you literally have no way to like prepare for.
right, and I honestly think that it might happen within our lifetime. And when you cut off electrons, you know what I mean? Everyone's so dependent on electricity anymore. It's not like the 1850s, the 1800s. When you cut off electrons, this place is going to be horrific.
Actually, it would probably be better in certain ways. It would force these hoes to get off social media.
Well, me and Real Talks talked about this.
Yeah.
You can ask for that, but when it happens, dude,
Yeah, it would suck, but it's like that's like with how we find ourselves in this gynocentric system today. Something like that is the only way that it would ever get fixed. You know what I mean? That if there was a fucking solar flare that shut down all the electricity, patriarchy would take over again. We wouldn't have to deal with all these fucking insufferable cunts.
Nature.
It would suck, living primally like that, but you wouldn't have to deal with all these fucking stupid bitches.
This is a thing. Indy, I think you're on something because this is the way I think it will play out. It could happen naturally, which would probably be like astronomically worse than if they had a way to artificially stimulate a solar flare through EMP means, or hackers hacking the grid means, or sniper rifles, trained snipers shooting those 9 major mega substations that powers the country. They could shoot out the substations, they could do an EMP event, and they could say that that is a coronal mass ejection. Because here's the thing is, if it naturally happens, then it's going to be the worst of the worst. But if they have a controlled way of doing it to where they might hit like all the large cities, right? And like, you know what I'm saying? There might be some people who don't get fried out. You know what I'm saying? That would be another thing. It wouldn't be as worse, but it would still be hell on earth. I would pray and hope that the sun fucking misses us naturally. And it's not like I'm wishing for these sick fucks to simulate such an event. But if it does happen and the whole globe doesn't get fried out 100%, then I would say it's safe to say these fuckers are using it as an excuse to knock out the grid so we go into a carnal carnage, eat each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to be cannibalizing each other if the power does go out. That's going to be the sick part. They might have a plan for this country just to kill itself because there's so many guns. You can't force an army of any sorts to come in here and try to disarm Americans. It's not going to happen. You would have to have the Americans kill each other. So I think Indy's event is probably going to happen, whether it's naturally or they can simulate it artificially through the various means that I said just a bit ago. It's a real interesting conversation, and I think you're on the money, Indy, because that's how these people operate, you know?
I think they already did try that in 2020 with the COOF and the riots and stuff. That was them attempting to basically turn everybody against each other so that way they had control. That's what that was.
Okay, yeah, I think we were being tested. It was like a soft test.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I got two things. Here's another scenario for you. They could launch, say, China. China could launch 3 nuclear weapons out of the Gulf of Mexico off the shores of California and one on the East Coast. These 3 nuclear devices could go up and produce an EMP that would knock out 80% of America's grid. Just bam, right there. So, and then once you knock out the grid because of the EMP, that would cut our balls off, guys. That would cut our balls off.
Well, what do you think's stopping them from doing that now?
Kind of like Armageddon, and plus, look how much money we send to China. Come on.
Right.
Well, there's a group. Okay, so put it like this. Okay, so let's say Indy, you ran Indianapolis for 200 years, and then the city it was called Indyville, right? And it was your city. Everyone knew you ran the show. You're the boss on data. Everyone bows down to Indy. And then this city or organization shows up and they're like, you know what? We want to buy this land from you, Indy, and we're going to change it to Indianapolis, the polis of Indy, right? And you're like, okay, you sell it to them. Do you think that you're going to give up all your power and influence just because you sold the land to these people? Or would that be something that you would be willing to give up? All of the bars, restaurants, businesses, all the shit that you control. If they buy the land from you, you know what I'm saying? Would you be willing to give up that power that you once had?
No, because I'd rally the people and tell them, you want to invade me, you will have heads on pikes.
Well, not invade. They just bought the land from you, but they didn't buy the influence from you. You still have influence over the city. They just own the land and they get to call it their own. You get what I'm saying? You're like pretty much like the boss that lurks in the darkness after you sell the land. You would be that kind of guy though if you sold them the land but you still have the influence.
No, I would sell the land because the land would be that of the people. The people's what makes the land. It's not the leadership.
No, I think I'm trying to give you an example of what happened in Washington, D.C. So Washington, D.C. was known before it was the nation's capital. It was known as Rome on the Potomac. It sat between Virginia and Maryland. It was a Catholic colony, right? And it turns out that the Catholic Church was like the main instigators of the Civil War.
Oh
They
shit,
were
we got
big.
Polska Bob in here.
Oh no, not Polska.
Who,
Let
who,
the let the
who's the
waffling start.
who's the bottom left guy or the bottom right? I'm the bottom left guy.
That's
Indy.
Please don't get us mixed up, Bob. Please
Okay.
don't.
In Indy, it's interesting topic. You were talking about the EMPs and the Faraday or the what's it called? What are they called? The Carrington event. Yeah,
Yep,
that
Carrington.
happened back. That happened back in the 1800s, and luckily we haven't developed the pop. We
You
haven't
all right over
developed the,
there?
Did
the
Bob
power
fall
grid.
down? Did Bob fall down?
No, somebody's taking out the garbage. I'm at the bar. Yeah, we didn't develop the power grid, so it didn't hit us that bad because we had no power. If that were to happen right now, an EMP or a solar flare or Carrington event, we'd all be back in the 1800s.
Yep.
There'd be no fucking cars because all the cars are electronics now. The only cars that would be working are the old 60s and 70s, the old cars without electronics at all, strictly
Yep.
all mechanical devices.
Yep.
And the really, like I said this in the chat, guys, if you want to protect your devices from EMP, you need a Faraday cage, and you can easily get one at any thrift store. Just buy an old microwave and put your shit in it.
Yep.
Get a
Just
ham
put it-
radio
yeah.
too. All right, guys, I'm out.
All right, see you, Bob.
Peace.
Bob, you're not out yet. Goddamn, Bob.
I know. I'm coming out now.
Bob, I want to see Bob try to pick up a girl at the bar, see what happens.
I want to see the bartender.
Yeah. Let's get some tits on here. I need to get some titty sound bites.
Yeah, like titty slop, sweaty tits. What sloshing around?
Sweaty tits.
Sweaty tits.
Yeah, I don't know.
Some can crushers.
I don't know if you guys are right or wrong about the solar flare shit. I try not to think about shit like that because if some shit went down like that, there's literally nothing you can do. That's one thing I do is I stock up on like rice and beans and shit, so that way if shit ever like power ever did go out, I got enough food to live off of, and I got guns in case like people try to like eat me. That's pretty much all you can do.
Yeah, I've been saying that for a while. And the doom and gloom scenarios, yeah, I do think about this shit. I try not to invest that much time into it. I kind of know what's coming. I'm decent at predicting the future based off of what they tell us it's called predictive programming. They always sprinkle what they're going to do in media, music, movies. They have different ways of giving you hints to what's coming, so I pay attention to that. But you're 100% correct, and I've said it on Yeetus' stream over and over. Guns, ammunition. If you want to be high tech, a generator with fuel that wouldn't get burned out by the quote unquote EMPs. Water. If you have pets, pet food. Guns, or I already said that. What was the last thing? A water purification system would be decent. If you had a way to get water, like for instance, say you have a well water system, if you had a separate pump that you could swap out, go from electric to a hand pump, that would be pretty useful.
Dude, I
what
saw
else?
this like off-grid homestead thing. This guy turned a washing machine into a power generator with using the river, like using water pressure on an old washing machine to power his little homestead.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy shit you can do. Because like even if the grid like went down and we ran out of power, we have so much technology nowadays that even if we lost power, if we figured out ways to create power like that, we'd still have like some power. Like you ever heard of Slab City?
No.
It's this like big fucking homeless commune in California where it was like this old army place that they just got rid of it, and they left all these concrete slabs, and now all these homeless people live there. And there's a guy that he basically created a coffee bar using car batteries and shit. Like they got like phones and shit. I thought that was pretty cool.
So some ultimate MacGyver shit, like the
Right.
wall components, and they just make something out of nothing.
Yeah, there's all kinds of crazy. Like, if you get on YouTube and look up like off-grid living, there's some people pull off the craziest shit, dude. There's this one, these like married couple. They started building like a houseboat using like water jug gallons as like floats, and they just started building up upon it. And they built this big ass house that it has like everything they need. Here, I'll see. I might be able to find it. I'll look it up here real quick. There's all kinds of crazy shit. If you look up off-grid living on YouTube, dude, you'll find some of the coolest fucking shit.
Yeah, I want to do. I want to get as much like solar going. That would be cool. Indy gave me the best idea because Ghost, like, how many times have you tuned into someone's live stream, and when they're talking about this shit, it's always about hunting deer and like having meat, you know, gotta have meat. And it's just like a lot of people come to the conclusion that there's not really going to be enough meat compared to how much we really consume, because you have these commercial farms that like these meat processing factories that get them from like commercialized farms. Without the commercialized farms and those factories, we can't consume as much meat as we do. So if you're not going to have the availability, because there really isn't that many little critters and deer available, Indy brought up the best point, I think, is having a pond with a lot of fish.
Yeah.
Well, during the Great Depression, people don't realize everyone's going out into the woods and trying to kill shit. And animals are very smart. So the amount of protein from animals, they just went away. And then people were going out into the woods trying to kill deer and everything like that. Then they come upon a farm, and then individuals would disappear. That's what happened. People don't realize how bad the Depression was.
Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing is, all the economists have said that what's coming is going to make the Depression look like a cakewalk. So how bad is it really going to be? And another point that Indy and I kind of touched on was how a lot of people want this collapse to happen, but we don't really know, or I don't think we've wrapped our minds around the concept of how bad it's really going to be, because of how dependent and how, you know, comfortable we live today. How much of a complete 180 it's going to be. I don't think we are ready for that mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, any particular way. We're kind of all like children. Like, we don't even know what to expect. You know, we're like these helpless creatures. That's what I think Indy and I were touching on, and it's a scary thought.
So wait, they say that there's going to be a Great Depression because of the inflation?
Yeah, economic collapse or whatever. War.
Well, it's definitely coming. It's definitely coming. Why do I say that? Because the only thing that was propping up the fiat currency was the petrodollar. And now that countries are actively switching over, it's just a matter of time, guys. And the good thing is we are all in this community together, so we can get ahead of this thing. We can prepare for what's coming, because these dollars are only going to be able to heat your home. They're not going to be able to buy anything.
The only thing that the American dollar is still standing is confidence. That's the only thing, guys. Confidence in the dollar. You lose confidence in the dollar, it's like the Highmark Germany thing. You'll be burning it in stoves to keep warm.
Well, there's so many sheeple people that don't believe, like, or that do believe everything that they're told. So, like, they're just going to keep believing in the dollar, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think, I mean, it's already not on a gold standard now. So, yeah, like, basically, money isn't real. But no money's real. Like, the people that are switching over to the other currencies, that currency isn't real either. It's the only thing that makes it real is, like you said, the people's confidence in it.
Yep.
Well, that's the only thing that a currency really has is confidence in it.
Yeah,
And that's
money's fake. It's just a symbol of value.
see when they took us off the gold standard in 1971, that just gave them free right to print whatever they wanted.
Right. I mean,
Yeah, I mean-
that's what pisses me off the most, man, because if you think about it, we're working for money that they can control the value of. We're fucking slaves, dude.
Well, it was all done by what Woodrow. It was Woodrow Wilson, correct? Who signed the Federal Reserve over Indy? Pretty sure in 1913. That's when the Federal Reserve became the centralized bank.
Yeah, I believe 1913.
Yeah, so once that happened, all of like the financial screwing of this country was able to be put in place. All of the subversion of our country, because just think about it. Once one entity, which is private, it's not truly federal, the people didn't have any say over it. Alan Greenspan's been shown on multiple occasions saying, you know, there really isn't anything that the people or even the president can say unless Congress comes and changes a series of laws. Like, we can basically do whatever we want. And I encourage you to look up. It's a real, like, this guy is just arrogant the way he's talking about how essentially they run everything and there's nothing that anyone can do. It's private. It's take it or leave it. So when you think about the monopolization of banking, that was the beginning to the end. And I don't think people really know the true history of the Titanic, because it's a wicked story. Why it really sank was for the birth of the Federal Reserve. It's the biggest lie ever told, is the Titanic. Are you guys? Have you guys ever heard the real story behind why that ship had to sink?
Yep.
No, but I'm interested.
Yep.
Okay, so J.P. Morgan, at the time of his death, you know, who started Chase Bank and other financial institutions, Ghost, at the time of his death, if you were to take a wild guess on how much money or percent of his name, his entire enterprise, what percent did J.P. Morgan own when he died? Take a wild guess.
Billions?
We'll say it was 100 billion.
Okay.
If it was a percentage of that, if it was 100 billion, what percent of that 100 billion did he own, like, himself, that he didn't have tied up with partners and shit like that?
Oh, I have no idea.
Just take a wild guess. Was it, you think 50%, 80%?
I'd say none.
Pretty close. It was 17% that he owned of himself. 83% was owned by the family who operates the Federal Reserve. The private Federal Reserve, they're represented by a red shield. I don't even want to, the Rothschilds, essentially. The Rothschilds owned 83% of J.P. Morgan. So he essentially was just an agent of theirs. So he owned the entire fleet of ships that the Titanic was a part of. But the ship that actually set sail wasn't the Titanic. It was a sister ship to the Titanic that had previously wrecked, had been recovered, and patched up. They repainted the ship on the side Titanic, right? And they knew that ship, as soon as it really got into some serious water, that it would fall apart. They used that ship to invite the 3 most prominent bankers at the time on the ship. J.P. Morgan, he was friends with these men. He invited them on the ship to set sail. And right before the ship set sail, good old J.P. said, guys, I'm feeling kind of sick. He gets off the ship. The ship gets to open waters right where it needs to be. And bam, the patch job fails. Those 3 men die. And then 617 days later, the Federal Reserve was born. 617 is the 113th prime number, right? So there's these numbers that these people like to work with.
Let me catch up to where you're at. So basically you're saying that J.P. Morgan set those banker guys up to create the Federal Reserve?
Yes, sir. And here's how you know without a doubt. 10 years before the sinking of the quote-unquote Titanic, there was a book written called Futility Wreck of the Titan. Not the Titanic, the Titan. And the story was about how the largest ship that ever set sail ran into an iceberg and sank. How in the fuck could you write a book describing his story that the world was told in such grave detail 10 years before said event happened? That's known as predicted programming. Futility Wreck of the Titan. It's hard to find the book because they don't want you to find it. They don't want you to know that, hey, before this ship ever set sail years before, someone got the bright idea to write this book. That's how these people operate. And the only reason I was bringing up these numbers is because it's some deep shit, man. It's what I'm really my true study that I'm pretty good at. But 113 is tied to the Titanic. 617 is tied to 113. I don't know if you guys are aware of prime numbers. They can only be divided by themselves and the number 1. So 617 is a prime number. Nothing factors into it. It can only be divided by itself in 1. So literally 617 days after the Titanic sank, the Federal Reserve was born. I'm going to get into this shit. I'm going to make some videos on what I'm pertaining to, and I really will deep dive into the Titanic and this 113 number, because this rabbit hole is deep, guys. And when I say deep, I mean it goes straight to fucking hell.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
You said rabbit hole. I had to throw that in there. But I got a question for you, real talk.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm confused because you said the Rothschilds were the 3 guys that were on the boat that sank.
No. The Rothschilds owned the 83% of J.P. Morgan. They were the one. Okay. Yeah, they're the banking dynasty family that owns the Federal Reserve.
So the Federal Reserve, that's basically just where all the money goes if somebody dies?
No. The Federal Reserve is who prints the money, who writes the interest rates, who manipulates everything. They're the wizard behind the curtain.
So they wanted to kill J.P. Morgan's friends so they could keep his money when he died?
No. They had to kill the 3. These men were the 3 richest men in the world at the time. And these 3 men were completely against a centralized bank. They didn't want a Federal Reserve. They knew that it would be the end of the country if one centralized power got control of the money. They knew that would be the beginning of the end. So JP Morgan, who was working for the Rothschilds, had to invite these three men on a ship that was going to sink no matter what. It was a plan. So they had to kill these three men who never wanted a centralized bank so that the Rothschilds could get control of the money supply and manipulate the country through financial means.
It's the goddamn little hats, dude.
Yeah, just call them, put it like this. Call them the small J's, because believe it or not, there's another entity bigger than them. I call them the big J's, and they're the ones who put the small J's on. Let's just say the standing. Do you guys know the other word for the Catholic Church? The whore of Babylon. That's the nickname of the Catholic Church. So let's just put it like this. The big J's, they're the standing military army, the SS of the whore of Babylon. They're the ones who are using the small J's as a convenient front. And I'm not saying that the Rothschilds don't have power, but they are just a fingertip to a pinky of an entire system that is even more wicked than any small hat you can imagine. They're using ancient mysticism of the small hats, of the little J's, but the big J's are beyond evil. And there's a lot more research that goes into this.
I know you're using coded language for a reason, but I'm help me understand what you mean by the big J's.
Okay, the big J's were started. Okay, so put it like this. I'll just say the whore of Babylon instead of, or I can say the CC. So the CC was confirmed pimps. Literally, they were paying women as prostitutes and putting them on the street. They were getting Christians to go out and sin to pick up these prostitutes. Those men would feel horrible. They would give their entire life saving in gold and silver coin. They were convinced to want to repent to the church for doing such transgressions against the Lord and sinning to such a high degree. So they would give their entire life savings in gold and silver coin to the church for a quote unquote ticket to heaven. Just think about that racket. The church was putting whores on the streets and then getting men to go out and pick up the whores. After the men did so, they would convince the men to buy a ticket to heaven.
Yeah.
Could you run up any more money than that if you did that for a few hundred years?
Right. So are you saying that the CC is who's behind it all?
So let me get to it. So Martin Luther, he outlined the corruption of the CC and the small hat wearing small J's. They were actually in cahoots with one another. And Martin Luther wrote his 95-page thesis in the 1500s. He posted it on the door of the Catholic Church on October 31st. That's Halloween, right? So historians want you to believe that the Catholic Church went after Martin Luther because of the quote-unquote the agnostic movement and the Gutenberg printing press. He was trying to get a Bible in everyone's hands because he said you don't need the church. You know, the Lord is in the book, so on and so forth. That is true, but they leave out the corruption that he wrote about in this 95-page thesis and how he tied the small hats, the small J's, into the church. So what was created to kill Martin Luther, his followers, to end the agnostic movement? The standing military army of the CC, and they go by they have a J in their name. They're in 112 countries today. They were in China before they were ever in the United States. Believe it or not, they're the ones who owned Washington, D.C. before it was ever the nation's capital. I don't even want to say their names because they're that wicked, but they have J in their name. They're responsible for starting the Illuminati. They're responsible for starting modern Freemasonry. So they were created to kill Martin Luther and his followers. These are assassins. These are killers. They are literally the standing military army of the CC, and they're the ones who are truly running the show. The CC actually tried to kick.
Are you talking about the dudes with the big noses, or are those the little J's?
Those are the little J's. The little J's have the big noses. The big J's are half Catholic, half small nose or big nose.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
So they teamed up back in the 1500s, and even before that, there was historical records of them doing wicked shit together. But damn it, I wish I could say the name, man. They're like Voldemort. You don't want to say their name because they are that fucking wicked. But let me just put it like this. I'll put it like this. You can research the schools. Donald Trump went to one of their schools. Nancy Pelosi, Gavin Newsom, Governor Cuomo, Anthony Fauci has their background. Melinda Gates has their background. The judge that ruled over the Kyle Rittenhouse case was educated at one of their schools.
Is this it right here? Is this what you're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
They're the big J's. They're the ones who are using the small J's as a convenient front. Like in the 80s when the FBI was going after the mob had gotten pretty smart. They created front bosses. So in the public eye, that's who they thought was running the show. But the real bosses lurked in the darkness. So the big J's in their logo is the Knights Templar. The Knights Templar was the world's first bankers. They're the ones who fled to Switzerland, and that's why Switzerland is pretty much in between everything. It never goes to war. They're armed to the teeth because all the money is there. Klaus Schwab is a big J. The World Economic Forum is out of Switzerland. The Prime Minister of the UK, right above his office, is the big J logo in stained glass. You couldn't make this shit up.
Well, nowadays, man, you know how you were saying they basically use the church as a way to guilt trip people into giving them money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now it's like there's no people don't really care about religion anymore for the most part in modern society, and I think that's why they started this whole woke bullshit. It's like this is the new scam to get people to feel guilty to invest into the system and shit like that. I think that's the new game they're playing.
Well, all the world governments are controlled by the big J's. That's the whole thing is Putin, just a little front. Trump, just a little front. Zelensky, a front. All of them. Even the Iranian leaders. There's two guys who run Iran right now. One of them has a Swiss bank account, go figure, and the other got his PhD in Sharia law, which kind of makes sense. Guess where he got his PhD from Sharia law? Guess what country he went to study for Sharia law, of all places?
Where?
Ireland. He went to Ireland to get his PhD in Sharia law. It's like, huh? Who goes to Ireland to study such?
So these big J's you're talking about, there are enemies for guys like me and you, just regular people.
No, they're not just our enemies. Every single person worldwide that isn't a part of the Billionaires Boys Club. Take the billionaires, put them in a pot. They're all controlled by these people. And then the rest of the people on this planet, even if you're a millionaire, these people are still your enemy. They're the ones they are the biggest globalists of all time. They want all the cultures to intermix. They want us all to be a monolithic group that they can control us through their technocracies.
Okay.
Yeah, there's what, 3 to 6 families, if you will, that are trillionaires and everything like that. No one knows who they are, if you will, but they're trillionaires. I mean, they control the whole they control the globe.
Yep.
Is Soros a part of this?
Soros is a nice little convenient front.
He's a little bitch.
Yeah, he's nothing compared to who's really at the top. Like, I truly think that the people at the top aren't even people. They might even be mixed in with extraterrestrials. These motherfuckers might be 400 years old. Like, they have the most advanced technology. They have all the world's secrets, because I had dropped truth on another guy's stream. I'll put it like this. All the ancient world knowledge that we aren't privileged to, that they didn't teach us in slave school, it's sitting in the vaults of the Vatican. And why do I say that? Because there's only one man who went on a conquest of the entire world, and that was Alexander the Great. He took pretty much all science, technology, knowledge from the old world, and he stuffed it into his libraries, primarily the Library of Alexandria. And historians try to tell you the biggest, fattest fucking lie ever, and they say, the Turks, they burnt down the Library of Alexandria. Nothing was saved. None of the science, none of the technology, none of the old mystery religions were saved. None of that. It was all burnt to a crisp. And it's like, wait a second. Alexander the Great, he conquered the Persian Empire. He kicked the shit out of them. And the Turks essentially were the Persians. So why would the Turks, knowing that Alexander had stolen all of this shit from their empire, why would they burn it down? It makes no sense. Why would they just say, oh yeah, all of our discoveries, science, technology, let's just burn it down? No, the motherfuckers took the shit out of the library. They saw what was of interest and of value, and then they took it up to Istanbul, Constantinople. And who got their hands on it in 1200? During the Crusades. The Knights Templar did. And all of the old world secrets are sitting in the vaults of the Vatican, never to be heard or seen from. They're using it to play God over us. I'm talking about Babylonian mysticism that no one really knows about. They have it up their sleeve, and that's where I was going to get into the numbers, but we'll save that for another time. This shit is super deep. But all I'm saying is these people have us in checkmate in so many different ways. They know the true human nature. You know, the human nature that's in the Bible, but they know the darkest sides of it that aren't in the Bible. They know, like, literally how to cast spells on billions of people using this technology. They have us so in tuned. They've basically, let's just put it like this. The world isn't 6,000 to 10,000 years old like all of the Abrahamic religions want you to believe. This shit goes back. And I think that no matter which way you cut it, they know what governs us, and we're never really going to find out. It's like the cheat code, the secret behind our nature. They're going to rule over us. And until we identify who's really running the show and what they're using,
has the identities of any of these people ever been released?
Well, it's secret societies. They're the occult.
Hey, Ghost.
Yeah.
The Vatican has anti-aircraft batteries. The Vatican is its own city. They have anti-aircraft batteries on site.
Yeah.
Because these 3 city-states, Ghost, are the most important. And I'm going off. I hate to just fucking not give you guys a chance to talk, but London, England is the banking headquarters of the world. The Vatican is the religious, spiritual, old world knowledge headquarters of the world. And Washington, D.C. is the military, flexed arm of the world, the muscle of the world. And all 3 of those are the only city-states on the planet.
Where is the Vatican? What country is it located in?
Italy.
Italy? Okay. So, okay.
I mean, it's located in Italy, but I mean, it's its own city.
Right.
Yeah, it's its own fucking entity. It's like,
yeah.
It's weird. I mean, just think about those. Those are the only fucking places on the planet that have their own jurisdiction, their own laws. It's a free for all. Like, pretty much, it's a complete monopoly in those places.
Yeah. So basically, those 3 city-states are really what runs the world.
And in London, there's 33 like subsections of London. There's an inner like city of London within London, and that's what I'm referring to. So like you can live in London outside of the city-state of London in one of the subsections, and it's still considered London. But there's literally a main like portion of it, and that's what I'm referring to. That's where all the banking. That's where so the Rothschilds got their entire bankroll by swindling the economy, the British economy during the Battle of Waterloo. It was Napoleon's last bout, and he had a scout on the battlefield who caught wind of the victory 20 to 24 hours before anyone on the British stock exchange knew what had happened. He spread a rumor that Napoleon kicked their asses. So everyone naturally sold for pennies on the dollar, or they sold, and then he came in and bought the entire stock exchange up for pennies on the dollar. And Mayor Ansel Rothschild, one of his most famous quotes ever is, "I care not who makes the laws. I care about controlling the money supply." So he had subverted the entire British economy in 1821, and from that point the real economic terrorism took place all across the globe. The East India Trading Company is theirs.
Yep.
Yeah, Indy, man. That's why I appreciate Indy, because he's fucking well aware of this shit. I feel like I'm preaching to the choir to Indy, but you kind of have to get up to speed on this because it's the shit that they don't want to talk about.
No, dude, I love it, man. Because I don't have access to this information. Where do you find this stuff at?
It's history. It's hard to find, but it's history.
Cover up after a cover up has caused it to be so hard to find it.
So the ancient wisdom that they're keeping hidden in the Vatican, has any of that ever leaked out?
Yes.
What's
Manly P. Hall, Secret Teachings of All Ages. He was an occultist. He was a Freemason. He wrote a big-ass book. And what I'm really good at, when I say good, it's because I've been studying for 2 years, not that I'm as good as other people out in the world that are monsters at this shit. It's called gematria. It's the practice of coding numbers into words. So dating back to Babylon, there's this ancient Jewish mysticism known as Kabbalah. Kabbalah has a good side and it has a bad side. Gematria can kind of go either way. So in Kabbalah, there's gematria, there's this book of formation. And it's you don't have to read really far into this book of formation. The first paragraph actually says, God created the world by merging the letter with the number, with the word. So these people believe that God works through numbers. And it's actually not far off when you think about it, because there is the golden ratio found throughout nature. There's like a lot of different.
Are you familiar with the law of attraction and The Secret?
I've heard of it. I haven't dove into it, but is it based off of like numbers and stuff?
It can be. It's based off of whatever you believe in, you attract into your life, sort of. There's a documentary on it, explains it better, but it's basically like when you're talking about numbers, it makes me think like, you ever seen that movie, The Number 23, with Jim Carrey in it?
See, that movie, exactly. They put these things in there, like in movies, they'll drop hints to this shit. Yeah. That movie 23 is, I think it includes like this sort of information, numerology and stuff.
Yeah, my thing is with that is, if you believe in that, then yeah, it's weird, because when I saw that movie, The Number 23, with Jim Carrey in it, almost every fucking time I looked at a clock after I watched that movie, it was like something 23. And then,
yeah, it's tough because there's an organic side and there's an inorganic side. And I really haven't like described it in detail yet. I don't want you to like think it's something else other than what it is. So I'll give you a prime example. You may be seeing 23 organically. Like every time you look at a clock, it's like 3:23, 4:23, 5:23, and you're like, damn, man, what's up with these fucking 23s? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's organically happening. Like, if you do look at your clock on your phone, and like throughout the day, let's just say you randomly decide to check your phone, or let's say during your work shift, you randomly decide to check your phone 5 times, and every time you check it, you see a 23, like, you know, that would be pretty fucking wild. You know what I'm saying? But that would be organically happening. It was a coincidence that one time after another, you kept seeing 23. You didn't manifest it and make it happen. It was just coincidental, but it organically happened. You didn't really have any control over it unless you were timing it down perfectly, you know, from hour to hour. You get what I'm saying? Right. Naturally occurring. You didn't have, no one influenced it whatsoever, right?
Yeah, so I'm sort of kind of confused, honestly.
Okay, so like people try to use this law of attraction, this law of manifestation. I'm just going to manifest it. It's going to happen. Oh, I'm just going to get in the highest version of me, and then I'm going to attract someone else and their highest version. I don't think that's necessarily true. When it happens, hey, that's synchronicity. It's cool. But with what I'm pertaining to is like, for instance, in this gematria code, when I write out my government name, it equals the number 66, right? And I'll look at a YouTube channel, like I'll look at like a short that one of you guys put out or something like that, and it'll have like, you know, like 66 likes, or a video that has 66 viewers, and I'm like, damn, that's my number. You know, I'll see it when I naturally occurring. I'm like, oh, look, it's my number again. There's another 66. There's another 66. There's another 66. So that just is me paying attention to the time, or paying attention to like a view count. And I'm like, I just signed on to this guy's live stream and he has 66 likes. Or as soon as I like it, it goes to the 66th like. You get what I'm saying? Like, that was organic. No one influenced it. I just was naturally at the right time, at the right place to see it. You get what I'm saying now?
Kind of like, are you talking about like predestination type stuff?
I don't know what to consider it, but I'm calling it the organic side. There was no script to it. Like, for instance,
and
let's say that
is what you're talking about. Is this the ancient knowledge that's hidden in the Vatican?
This is pertaining to that ancient knowledge. So that is an organic circumstance. Like, say, for instance, like, let's say that Yeetus or Chronic had a stream at 10 a.m. tomorrow, and then, like, I log in, and there's literally 660 people in there. Or let's say there's 659 people in there, and then I get in there and it says 660. I'm like, okay, what do you know? It's the 66 number again. That would just organically happen. No one influenced it. No one had control over it. It just happened in the universe at some given time, and I saw it like, man, why does this number just keep haunting me? That's where that 23 could be popping up over and over. It just happened by circumstance. You had no control over it. You get what I'm saying now? That's the organic side. These numbers can pop up organically. But let me give you an example of something that is completely and utterly inorganic. So on September 11th, you had Flight 77. It supposedly took off at 8:20 and it hit the Pentagon at 9:37. That's a 77-minute hijacked flight. You do some research into the Pentagon, it's 77 feet tall, and it falls on the 77th West Meridian. It's like, wait a second. Flight 77 hits the 77-foot tall Pentagon, which falls on the 77th West Meridian, and it was a 77-minute hijacked flight. Is that a coincidence, or was someone conspiring that day to make that happen? You catch my drift?
Yeah, I don't believe.
So let me get into why it's 77. So in this gematria code, when you write out September 11th as words, it equals the number 77. When you write out World Trade Center, it equals the number 77. So it was a ritual that day. Those terrorist attacks had esoteric, ancient, old world, ritualistic knowledge, and it wasn't just a terrorist attack, it was a ritualistic terrorist attack. This happened ritualistically, so these people play God over us using old world, esoteric, ritualistic events. That's what I'm saying, is like, none of this shit that we're being told is just a coincidence. They're conspiring against us, and they use numerology and numbers in a lot of the stories. And I've studied this thoroughly, and I want to get you the guy's book so you can read it, you can see it, you can absorb it, because it took me over 6 months to accept the fact that these people are using this old world knowledge to play God. We think that the world's going down the drain, but it's literally the big J's and the small J's in conjunction with other, secret societies and shit like that, all working together to make these events that take away our rights, our freedoms, that destroy our economy, that completely make our life hell on earth. They don't just make it happen. They do it ritualistically, and they love to do it this way, because in their eyes, according to the old world knowledge, this is how God works. So in an inorganic, scripted, contrived fashion, they play God over us using old world knowledge. The organic side does exist with the numbers, but it's purely organic. There wasn't a big J, a small J. There was no banker involved. Like the guy who owned the World Trade Towers, his name was Lucky Larry Silverstein. And why do I call him Lucky? Because a lot of the parts of those buildings, I believe, had asbestos. And he got the buildings like 1 year or so before the towers. And he cashed in billions of dollars from this event. So Lucky Larry, he played a part in this. When something happens in your life and you might see a number that you identify by, like let's say you played football and your number was 24, right? Your entire life, you just wore the number 24. And then you just start to see 24 randomly all the time. That's just organically happening. But the scripted events, man, we're flying off a fucking cliff, and these people are making jokes about us while we're flying off of a fucking cliff. And it makes me sick. But the coolest thing about this gematria is once you learn it, everything from the Amber Heard case to the quote-unquote Russia-Ukraine to the beer bug, any of it, you can apply this esoteric old world knowledge to, and you can see through all the lies. Have you seen the movie They Live?
Yeah.
This is exactly what gematria does. It lets you see, it's the glasses, it lets you see through everything. And by the way, Cable 54, when you write out the name of the big J's, the two-word name, the J-O, it equals 54. Cable 54 was running the show in They Live, and literally in gematria, when you write out their name, the big J's name, it equals 54. You can't make this shit up. But this is their code. Oh, by the way, the entire English language
is
scripted. It's scripted around this code. Yes, it is the language of slaves because it is pushed worldwide. Anywhere the English language is pushed, the New World Order is there.
Well, okay. So it's ingrained in English language?
Exactly. This code is ingrained in the English language. The entire English language is synced up with the Gregorian calendar. So think about these three events that took place. We went from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar right around the late 1500s, I believe. So this is all that happened. We switched calendar systems, which the switch made absolutely no sense. The Gregorian calendar system is retarded. Nevertheless, we were given a new calendar system. We were given a standardized English language. By the way, the first version of English was given to us by a Catholic monk. His name was Burfirth. I think that's how you pronounce it. But that was the first English alphabet. Then the 26 letters got standardized. So essentially what I'm saying is we were given the English language with 26 letters. At the same time, we were given this Gregorian calendar. At the same time, the big J's were formed. It's crazy, the synchronicity of those three events. But once you do more research into this shit, man, you're just going to say all of this ridiculous history that makes no sense, such as the Titanic sinking.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of come to that conclusion without the actual knowledge of what you're talking about. It's I could kind of just see, I can kind of see the code just from, experiencing it as somebody living in it. But what you're saying does make sense, though.
Yeah, Prince, for instance, he wrote the song in 1983, I Would Die. He wrote the number 4 and the letter U. And Indy, in the early 80s, was anyone writing shorthand slang in their song titles?
Indy, I don't know if he just left or he dropped out, but he's not in the panel right now.
Oh, my bad. Dude, when I start talking about this shit, it's the most fascinating thing I've ever came across in my life because it's the only thing that makes sense on why the world is the way it is and how it got there through lies, deception, and deceit. But in the early 80s, no one was writing song titles how Prince wrote I Would Die, the number 4, the letter U. Literally the song title, I Would Die for You. And the crazy thing is he literally died for you. He died on April, which is the 4th month, 21st. U is the 21st letter. He literally died April 21st, 2016. How did Prince know that he was going to die on that day? Did someone tell Prince, hey, Prince, you should write this song Like, let's just put it like this. Prince went to the record labels like, hey, guys, I got this smash hit. They're like, all right, Prince, what are you calling it? I Would Die. And he wrote FOURYOU. And then the small J, small hat record label company said, Prince, you should change the song from I Would Die FOURYOU to I Would Die the number 4 and then the letter U. Because he did die for you. It was like a self-fulfilling prophecy, that song. I would die for you, you. He literally did die on 4U, April 21st.
Yeah, that's wild to think about.
Kobe Bryant's death. The guy who wrote the books on this gematria, it was probably 4 years before Kobe died. All the numbers surrounding Kobe's death, there's like an entire chapter on Kobe Bryant that this guy is literally telling you Kobe Bryant equals 41. So Kobe died at 41. His daughter died at 13. 41 is the 13th prime number. He died 41 minutes after takeoff. In his movie where he's trying to kill Kanye West, it's like a Nike movie. He throws a bomb up at Kanye West's helicopter. Literally, he blows up Kanye in a helicopter in a movie and then dies in a helicopter. But nevertheless, the bomb that he throws up, it's a basketball bomb in this movie, this Nike movie. He throws up this basketball bomb at Kanye's helicopter. And the last time that you see on the clock is 4.1 seconds. Kobe's last game ever. He walks off the court, I believe, with 4.1 seconds to go. He scored 81, and the rest of his team scored 41. He was guarded by number 41. I think of the Utah Jazz most of that final game. So these people use these numbers to, quote unquote, play God over us. And I know it's a real crazy thing to think about. I wouldn't be speaking this with such confidence if I didn't research it as well as I have. But once you see this shit, you'll never be able to be told a lie again from the mainstream news, from social media, from a politician, from a banker, from anyone. You're going to be able to see through it. And that's why I'm able to see through the Coach Red Pill fiasco, how he supposedly got kidnapped and how the Azov battalion has got him and all this other shit. If you throw all these terms, Coach Red Pill, Azov, Freemasonry, you throw all these words into this calculator, you start to see these numerical overlaps. And you're like, is Coach Red Pill, is this organically happening? Or are these fuckers using these numbers to play God? Yeah, go ahead, because I've been going off, man, and I'm sorry because this it's not fair for me to be fucking just, you know.
No, you're cool, man. You're talking about interesting things, but my question is, are the Brown Eye Boys a glitch in the Matrix?
The Brown Eye Boys, who the fuck is that?
The Butthole Brigade?
Yes. We are an organic force of scat farts. You name it. It's a real shit show, but we've been sent by the powers that should be, you know, like this is an organic occurrence. I will say last night's stream was by far the funniest thing I've ever experienced on YouTube.
Yeah, that shit had me geeking out. But I was thinking, because like you're basically like, you're more intellectually smart than I am. Like you use a lot of big words that I don't really know what you mean, but I think I get the idea. You're basically talking about the playbook of the powers that should not be.
Exactly. And it's this playbook goes all throughout the Bible. It goes all throughout our modern. It is his story, Ghost.
His story. Are you talking about God?
No, the powers that shouldn't be.
Oh, okay.
It's their story. When it, you know, it's his story. It's scripture, and it's not that I'm not a person who believes in God. I'm not atheist. I believe in God, but after seeing this information, I now know that they've had their hand on God. They've manipulated the Bible. They've changed things. It's all fuckery, man. It's tomfoolery and fuckery. But sorry to cut you off. Yeah, this is the playbook. Exactly. That is the best way to put it. It is the playbook of the New World Order to the fucking T. Because here's the thing: is it's a script, 100+ year script.
What is there anything we can do to avoid their fuckery other than going MGTOW?
Nope. And I'm going to be honest with you. Getting your own food, being able to survive, your survivalist skills and knowledge, and the tools to do such, whether it's a water purification system, whether it's a gun and ammunition, whether it's a generator and fuel, whether it's freeze-dried food, canned food, stocking up on pet food. That's the only thing you can do at this point. And here's the thing is, why do I say that with confidence? Because I have tried to wake people up to this knowledge. My fucking family, I've tried. The closest people to me, even random people, I've tried to wake them up, but they're too dumbed down. Their eyes are closed, their ears are closed, their minds are closed. They're lemmings, they're useful idiots. They're what the New World Order needs for their plan to be fulfilled. There's too many of them. The blue-pilled cucks. There's too fucking many of them. So you got to save yourself. I wish there was more time to know this shit so people could get on board. But the one thing that this will save you is you'll never have to fear. You won't have to look at a news headline and be fearful or think that there's any truth to it, because you can apply the gematria code. You can see through their lies and deception. For instance, how many people in the Red Pill space got really hurt about Coach Red Pill? They killed Coach Red Pill. R.I.P. Coach Red Pill. Ton of people.
Yeah, I wasn't convinced because I remember he made a video talking about how you guys got to run away from the West. You got to get out of the West. And he ran to Ukraine. I remember even when he did that, I was like, bro, you can't run away from this shit. Like, it's everywhere. And then that shit happened. And I kind of just thought it was him doing a publicity stunt to try to like regain his like what's his reputation, because he looked stupid for shitting on everybody for running to Ukraine, and then that happened.
Yeah, it was like a sensational head jerking event that kind of got like you're to build his rep, to get people back on his side. So you see through that. But a lot of people, I'm looking in live chats, I'm looking in Hammerhand, R.I.P. Coach Red Pill, I can't believe they killed him. People's emotions were getting fucked with. People were being manipulated. But when you see this information, you can apply it, this knowledge, and you can see if Coach Red Pill is organic, or most likely if he is a glowy asset. And you don't have to invest in the Coach Red Pill story anymore, because you can see, hey, this guy's got all of this numerical overlap with the powers that shouldn't be. This code is on full display. I can see it with my eyes. I can do these calculations. I can see that this is scripted, right?
Right.
Any sort of terrorist attack, any sort of shooting, you can take the name of the shooter. You can look at the gematria. You can look at the date. You can see these patterns that they work by, and you can say, okay, the fucking New World Order fingerprints are all over this story. I'm not going to invest in it. I'm not going to let it fuck with me. I'm not even going to think about it. That's why during this whole beer bug, I wasn't worried about shit, because I knew that it was a crock full of shit. So like that's
weird.
where it's like
I'm not like you sound like a really smart guy with this kind of stuff. I don't intellectually know what you're talking about, but I understand it in the sense of like once you come face to face with quote unquote evil, you understand how the reality really works in a way that most people don't. So it's
Yes.
like I've almost come to the same conclusion that you've come to, but from a completely different way. But what you're talking about is basically the same thing that I'm talking about. It's just you found it through this knowledge. I found it through just interacting with fucked up individuals because the fucked up individuals on a smaller level, their basic makeup is the same as the big fucked up individuals. You know what I'm saying? It's like the same.
Yes. Spirit.
Right, right.
Yeah, no, 100%. But let's say, for instance, you could say I've dealt with fucked up individuals, and the bigger fucked up individuals are just like them. But let's talk about how two huge structures like those towers in New York, how could they fall perfectly in their footprint without being a controlled demolition? Like you can see that and say, man, those buildings fell perfectly. How the fuck did they just naturally fall that way?
Well,
Without you guys fucking.
There was one building that didn't even get hit by a plane that fell. Building 7.
Exactly. Yep. And lucky Larry Silverstein, the guy who had the insurance claims on all the buildings, he actually said, yeah, he actually said, pull it. Those were his words. He told them to pull it. That is code word for let the building fall in a controlled demolition. So when he's saying pull it, he's saying, yes, perform the controlled demolition. But here's the kicker. You can't rig that building up in 1 day's time. So it was pre-planned, pre-scripted. So you understand through common sense and through understanding the physics behind a building falling
Well,
perfectly.
you know what gets me thinking is if you look at like the history that we're told, somehow the good guys always win. You know what I'm saying? It's like in reality, the good guy doesn't always win. So how is it that in every single major conflict in the last, recent history, the quote unquote good guys won? You know what I'm saying? Like how many times did the good guys actually lose and they just said the good guys won? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I think the comment here by Mile High Rona, he says numerology is based in religion and exploits one's understanding of math. I would say that the religion is based in numerology because Babylon came before any of the organized religions. You know, if Kabbalah dates back to Babylon and this belief about numbers and God related to numbers came before organized religions, essentially astrology is what this stuff is connected to. Have you ever heard of sacred geometry, Ghost?
No, I have not. But
okay, so in sacred geometry, the most sacred object is the Vesica Pisces. It's the shape of a football, and it's also the shape of the vag, believe it or not. How interesting, right? Literally, the most sacred object in sacred geometry is the Vesica Pisces, which looks like a football or a pussy. And geometry or gematria, what I'm talking about, all that means is geometry of language. So gematria is based off of sacred geometry, and sacred geometry is based off astrology. So astrology is kind of like it's what governs all of the ancient old world knowledge, and all modern religions are tied into, like for instance, Christianity, Judaism, Islam. It is based off of Hermetic principles. There's hermetic laws and principles. Those came before any of the three big religions. So all this shit, like, I think the numerology goes back, like math and numbers goes back a long, long fucking time. I would say much longer than what his story or the account of the New World Order tells us. This shit is off the wall, man. I don't want to like say that people who have truth on this aren't correct, but like we've been told a fucking shit sandwich full of lies, and we've been forced to eat it.
That's why you have my attention, is because I do believe that we've been sold a shit ton of lies. My thing is like where I'm at now, it's like I don't know what really went down. That's why I'm listening to you talk about this shit, because I'm with you on that. We've been told a bunch of bullshit. But
I could give you professional sports examples as well, because the professional sports, the cool thing about this gematria is you can see the lies in the news, and you can also bet on sports games that are rigged by this code. They rigged the professional sports by this code as well. And I can give you a prime example. 2019, the NBA Finals. I don't know if you watch basketball at all. Do you?
no.
I'm
I
not
just
a big.
watched the Super Bowl because I'm from Cincinnati.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was born in Ohio as well.
Oh yeah. But I'm listening though.
Yeah. So the Golden State Warriors played the Toronto Raptors in the 2019 NBA Finals. The first three games, the Raptors won, but the first three games, the box score of the Golden State Warriors was 109 points, 3 games in a row. They scored 109 points, one game after another after another.
Okay.
Now,
okay, hold on. Let me
ahead.
ask you. I'm hearing what you're saying. Do you think that this code is controlling the people, or the people are controlling the code?
I think that the big J's and the small J's are using this code in an inorganic fashion. They are scripting these events.
Okay. I can kind of see what you mean by that. I get what you're saying.
So basically, when you look at it in a mathematical lens, let's not even look at any letters and numbers. Let's just look at professional sports spread. Now, you can research right now, go on Google and see the box scores of that NBA Finals, and it was 109 game 1, 109 game 2, 109 game 3 that the Golden State Warriors, that was their final score. Now, if you mathematically calculated the odds of that happening, it wouldn't be too difficult. You would kind of just look at the probability of them scoring 109 in game 1, and then you will multiply it by the probability of them scoring 109 in game 2, and then you multiply that number by the probability of them scoring 109 in game 3. It's pretty simple. So we could do it. Let's look at a conservative estimate of an NBA point spread. Let's say 85 is the lowest possible score and 135 is the highest possible score. We're giving them the benefit of the doubt when we do it on a conservative 50-point spread. If we did it on a more liberal spread, then we wouldn't be giving these pieces of shit the benefit of the doubt. But for the benefit of the doubt, just to give them a little bit of extra, we're going to do a smaller spread. So you'll understand in a second. So 109 falls in between 85 and 135. That's a 50-point spread. So the chance that they could score 109 the first game is 1 out of 50. Do you agree with me there?
Sure. Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, they scored one of the point sets in a 50 possible point set. It's 1 out of 50 odds. Then the second game, it's the same calculation. They scored 109 points. It was a 1 out of 50. That's another 1 out of 50. Then the third game is the same exact calculation. It was a 1 out of 50 chance, and they did it again. What's the odds that they could score 109 3 games in a row when it's 1 out of 50 odds? It would be 1 out of 50 times 1 out of 50 times 1 out of 50. And the overall chances of that happening 3 games in a row, 109 3 games in a row, is 1 out of 125,000 chances. Now, it doesn't matter if it's hockey, baseball, tennis, football, basketball. No matter what, I've never seen any team score the same score 3 games in a row like that. I've never seen it. Have you?
No.
Exactly. Why? Because it's literally 1 out of 125,000 odds of even happening. But why was it at 109? Why wasn't it 108? Why wasn't it 107? What is so special about 109 in relation to either the Golden State Warriors or the Toronto Raptors? You know, there has to be some significance to that number. So if you were to look at the biggest Toronto Raptors fan in the world, people who understand sports know it can be only one person, and it's that clown Drake, because he's from Toronto. He's always at their games in the front row. He's like Jack Nicholson at the Lakers games. Jack Nicholson's been going to the Lakers games for freaking, 20-something years, or even longer. That's what Drake is to the Toronto Raptors. He's their biggest fan, hands down. Anyone who knows like basketball will tell you that. Anyone who knows rap will tell you, yeah, Drake's the biggest fucking Raptors fan in the world. So before the 2019 NBA Finals, Drake supposedly beat a Beatles all-time sales record. He released his album called Scorpion. Scorpion had 10 singles on there that outsold the Beatles' top record. Now think about this, Ghost. If Drake beat the Beatles, the highest selling musical talent ever, if he beat the Beatles' sales record, do you think he won the small J's, the small hats who control the music and sports industry? Do you think he won more money by breaking the Beatles' sales record than the NBA Finals that year?
I'm confused.
Put it like this. If you outsold the Beatles for the record label's sake, do you think outselling the Beatles would make more money than like an NBA Finals for 2019?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, same. I would say that if you outsold the Beatles, then you probably made more money than the NBA Finals could have ever brought into the table. So because he outsold the Beatles, they gave Drake the championship. And how do I know this? Because the album that beat that record, when you write out Scorpion, so S is the 19th letter, C is the 3rd letter, O is the 15th letter. When you start adding up those letters and you add up the word Scorpion, it equals 109. What are the odds that Drake would beat the fucking Beatles all-time sales record with an album called Scorpion? It equals 109 in gematria when A equals 1. Yeah.
Right. So I got a question. So if they've figured out a way to fucking manipulate the code, how do they do it?
Okay, that's a great question. See, you're fucking catching on this shit like wildfire. Watch the commercial with David Blaine, the NBA Finals David Blaine commercial. He literally says that there is magnets involved. Literally, there are magnets in the ball and there's magnets in the rim. He launches the ball like over his head in this commercial, and it's almost 3/4 court. It's close to full court. He just launches the fucking ball and it goes in. It swishes. And it looks like it's computer generated, but it's like, are they really telling us that they have like technology into the sports? Like, think about some of the field goals where it dings off the fucking field goal. Is there magnets in the football and magnets in the field goal? Is there magnets in the basketball and magnets in the rim? There was 2 shots in the 2018-2019 NBA season. I need to send them to you on Discord. If you're on Discord, you can watch these shots, and they weren't supposed to go in. Damian, I think it was it Damian? No, Kawhi Leonard for the Toronto Raptors in the semifinals game to get to the finals for that rigged championship that I'm describing. He literally shoots this shot in the corner, and it bounces off the rim 5 times. Ding, 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 and then it lands. It's like there's no way that shot was supposed to go in, but it went in. So I firmly think that they're using technology, because when you watch the commercial with David Blaine NBA Finals, I think it was the ABC was like hosting it, but it's like NBA Finals ABC David Blaine commercial. He's literally saying there's magnets.
So they're just cheating then.
Yes, exactly. And that is why Vegas never loses, because they know the outcome of the game. They're controlling the outcome of the game.
Right.
It's incredible. Yeah. So this guy that's written the books, he has 2 YouTube channels, Gematria Effect News, and he's on his 25th channel, by the way. He has Gematria Effect News 22, 23, 24, and 25. He's like chronic. They've deleted him this many times. Glowies have driven cars through his house. They've broken into his house and robbed him. He's had a pretty hard life. He also has his sports channel, Gematria Effect Sports. So I would encourage you, because you're on YouTube, I'd encourage you to check his content out. And he has predicted the past like 7 years, things before they've happened in sports and in news, like to the fucking T. He told everyone before LeBron won the scripted finals in 2016, where it was 40-1 odds. He told people to go out and bet. And literally in comment sections, people are like, yeah, I took $500 and put it down, man. I've never had this much money in my life. That guy who put down $5,000 or $500 got paid 20 grand from this knowledge. Now, as the years have gone on, they've made it harder. They've scripted the games better compared to before anyone knew about this shit. But this guy literally charges $5 a month on his Patreon, and he will decode all the games. He'll show you the games that are like the best to bet on, that have the most likelihood, because there's more of a script behind them. It's a very deep study, man, but like, it is knowledge. There's no, how can I say, when you look at this shit, there isn't like, it isn't opinionated. Like, for instance, the word ghost, just to give you a breakdown. G is the 7th letter, so you would take G and you would replace it with 7. H is the 8th letter, so you would replace H with 8. So G plus H would be 15. O is another 15, that's 30. T would be 20, that would be 50. And the S is 19, so ghost equals 69.
Hell yeah.
How interesting. and you're and you're like the wildest dude, man, in the war band. I mean, you're about buttholes and your name equals 69. That's the organic side to this. I should have literally, like, let me go down the line. Let me see what ghost MGTOW equals. But actually, here, I'm going to put it in the private chat. I'm going to put the calculator where you can do all these calculations and it's quick. You can do it by hand, but this calculator speeds things up. Someone in the community built this calculator, and it's pretty easy to use. But yeah, let me see here.
Ghost equals 69. There's 4 different ways you can add Ghost up, but I'll have to make a video and show you. But yeah, Ghost equals 69. Let's see what Ghost MGTOW equals. Ghost MGTOW equals 147. That's crazy because my full name equals, my government name equals 147. That's crazy. I'm talking to Ghost MGTOW, who equals 147, and my name equals 147. That's the organic side to this.
Yeah, that's the law of attraction. That's what I was. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, you could consider it the law of attraction. Like if there's an organic side to the numbers, that is the organic law of attraction. You get what I'm saying? Like, so this, it's cool that I brought this calculator out. That's crazy, but yeah, Ghost equals 69. Oh man, that's so fucking funny. Let me send you this calculator real quick. I'm gonna put it in the private chat. But yeah, everybody in the community can put their name in the calculator. But you know what's crazy? When you put fresh and fit in the calculator, it has an overlap with Washington, D.C. and Anthony Fauci in 3 different ways. Ding, 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 ding. Glowy alert, glowy alert.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying is if the code is present and there's these overlaps with like powers that shouldn't be pieces of shit, a part of the New World Order, you know that they're a part of the gang. But like, how could we have scripted this? You know what I'm saying? This just naturally occurred. So that's the law of attraction. It's cool that we're going through these examples because it's hard for me to kind of bridge the subject because I'm so far down the subject's path. Like you just heard about it tonight, so it's hard for me to break it down. So it's easier for you to digest.
I'm down. I'm deep in the rabbit hole too, man. It's just I understand it on a spiritual level, not an intellectual level.
This is considered esoteric. This isn't quote unquote intellectual because when you look at this shit, it's literally addition. It is a grade schooler could do this. So there's nothing. You have to get more used to seeing it because we weren't taught this way in slave school, but
right.
It's just one of those things where this is all old world esoteric knowledge, and I would side with the more spiritual side. I don't really like getting deeply involved into this shit because this is more. I'll be honest with you. These people are using this shit for bad purposes. I would consider more of like a dark demonic realm. Like I don't like to be in this realm and like basking in it. I look at the facts, I can study it that way to know what's coming, but I don't use it to cast spells on people and to use it for a ritualistic purpose. So I would love to just stay in the spiritual, but it is good knowing that they are using this code, and I can see down the road. I can see into the future and have a little bit better chances of surviving. Because, hey, if I'm not sucked into the news, if I'm not sucked into professional sports, let's say if I was betting on the sports, but I didn't even know that they were rigging it by this code, I could be losing a lot of fucking money, right?
Right.
So if I want to bet and I know this code, I can make a little bit more coin. There's guys in the community that are making more money, and I'm not trying to tell people to go and quit their fucking jobs here, but there are people who make more money from the sports betting than they do their full-time jobs, which is crazy.
Oh yeah, for sure. Give me
From
one
using
second.
this,
I'm gonna grab a drink real quick. I'll be right back. But yeah, I was gonna ask. Do you know anything about binaural beats?
Binaural beats. What comes to my mind is like sounds that influence us. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, basically the code is vibrations.
Exactly. That's the hermetic principles you're describing.
Yeah, and you can listen to certain vibrations that will you can basically cheat the code of reality by listening to these vibrations.
Yeah, I would agree with you. There is certain music, certain frequencies. Like for instance, all the trap and like hardcore hip hop rap. I think it's all like 440 hertz. It's all produced in the same frequency, and those frequencies govern the behaviors of people who listen to said music. Like rock and roll or heavy metal, like listening to Metallica when you're lifting. Where does that music give you all that extra strength? You know, it's like, what's going on with the frequency of this music? How is it like bringing like a savage side out of me?
Well, I'm talking about like these binaural beats. They're like specific frequencies that have specific outcomes. Like you can listen to certain frequencies and attract wealth into your life. You can listen to specific frequencies if you're still simping and attract females into your life.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. So this is actually more of like a not guaranteed outcome, but like it will steer you in a particular direction where most likely this is going to be your fate, huh?
Well, what it is it's like whatever frequency you're on as a person, you attract similar frequencies. So
Okay.
if you are a low frequency individual, you're going to attract low frequency situations into your life.
Okay,
So,
that's perfect. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm
these
agreeing.
binaural beats, they can manipulate your frequency. Like if you're a low frequency guy and your life is shit, you can listen to certain vibrations that will lift your frequency and attract higher higher level stuff to you.
Yeah, I will agree with you there. There is a power. There is a power to the sounds. Think about those old tribes, the ancient tribes, where before they would go to war, they would start like pounding the ground, and they would do certain things. Like it's weird how we're governed through this shit, but I think the sounds, the binaural frequencies that you're describing, I think that all is like the old world secrets. Like there's
That's kind of what I was getting at is a lot of those old world secrets leaked out, and like some of it's like common knowledge. Like okay, listen to this, bro.
That point is an incredible point. Yeah,
this is gonna trip you out, and everybody listening to this. When I was like red pilled and I didn't know that MGTOW existed, I didn't know there was a community. I didn't know. I literally thought I was the only person that thought like this. I'm a religious person. I do believe in God. So I prayed to God. I said, God, will you?
There it goes.
I swear to God, in like less than a week, I found MGTOW.
Okay, so you kind of spoke. You kind of broke up there for like 5 seconds, but before you said you swore to God, could you repeat that?
Basically, what I'm saying is like I'm not preaching Christianity, but because I said that prayer to the universe,
yeah,
I found MGTOW as a result of that
in a very short time span.
Yeah, like literally less than a week. It was fucking crazy, bro. And it's like even if you're not religious, it's basically what I'm saying is I put that vibration out there. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
it's weird. It's not like you conjured up some spirit. They call it like for instance, in the Bible, there's a section called it talks about familial spirits. And I believe it's saying that through women, like these spirits can be conjured up, like these like pretty much like wizardry and witchery. And it's not like, how can I say, you kind of conjured up like a positive spirit, like you weren't throwing in the towel. You were just like, give me some light. Like just show me something. Give me a sign. That's what you were like asking God essentially when you were praying, like, give me a sign, show me some light. And then this little pinhole of light came through and it was MGTOW.
Well,
so like
what I'm saying is it's like whether or not God is real, there is a practical benefit from believing in it, even if it's not real.
Well,
Because,
no, God is real, but my whole thing is what they've told us God is and how God works isn't really how God works.
Right,
There's
absolutely.
and that's what it's kind of crazy. You kind of like read my mind a little bit because this is my belief about God. So the Hermetic principles, there's these Hermetic principles, these Hermetic laws. Have you ever heard the term hermetically sealed?
No. I'm kind of a simple-minded man. You got to use small words with me.
Well, Hermetic, it all goes back to the Hermetic principles. So basically, some of the Hermetic principles state every shape, every color, every object, every person has a vibration.
Right.
And based off that vibration, that energy essentially, like there's certain people who are just negative people. They come into a room and the whole room's energy changes because they're so low vibration. And then there's certain people that can raise the energy of the room, the vibration. So basically, my belief about God is this. When you are living a low vibrational life, you're feeding your mind bullshit, like the blue pilled world. You're feeding your body bullshit, like fucking the most processed foods, the shit that like drains your energy. Like I don't have a problem with anyone who drinks soda, but like pop back in the day, like Forrest Gump times, it was real sugar. Today, it's high fructose corn syrup. That corn syrup is like low vibrational. The cane sugar is like high vibrational. So like when you put in shit foods in your body, you feel like shit. It like lowers your vibration. When you put shit knowledge in your mind, you watch the TV, the mainstream media, you listen, you get your news from social media bullshit, right? You don't like know where to look, or not saying that social media has bad news, but a lot of glowy assets can be in the social media and they can steer you down a wrong way. Like it's just basically what I'm saying is you feed your mind, your body, your spirit with high vibrational shit, clean shit. You know what I'm saying? Shit that's good for you, good for your soul, good for your body, and who you are from top to bottom. Or you feed it garbage. And depending on how you go throughout life and the decisions you make, how you treat people, karma, that sort of thing, that keeps just you in a high vibrational state. Mm-hmm. And when you're in a high vibrational state, God can come through to you. It's like we're all vessels. Yeah. And if you are a low vibrational turd, God can't penetrate. It's like the low vibrational people, the simps, the blue pillars, it's like God can't get through to them because they're so heavily indoctrinated. They believe in lies. They don't question anything. But when you question things, when you treat your body right, when you treat your spirit right, when you treat like you're doing the best you can, you're at your most high vibrational state. Every person has their natural vibrational state. They can raise it. You know what I'm saying? You can start at a lower state and you can raise it. You just have to live a more pleasing life to God, and God is going to come to you. So you just didn't. I'm going to put it like this, Ghost. I don't think you were.
I know a really easy way to raise your vibration immediately. It's gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
If you just count the things you're grateful for, you'll just raise your vibration.
I think fasting will raise your vibration. You know, like people talk about water fasting, how it heals the body naturally, like goes into healing the body and shit like that. You're right. No, that counting your blessings and being thankful and not looking at like all the negativity, but all the positivity, that naturally, like, it's like a mind fuck. You have to deprogram the pessimistic side of how most people think in this world, the blue pilled world, because the blue pillars ultimately hate themselves. They don't love life. They ultimately like dread life. And the creature, she's blue pill at the end of the day. You know, there's no red pill about the creature. So the creature hates her life and the simp hates his life. But when you do have this gratitude behind what you have and this thankfulness behind what you have, like that's what we have. Like we're so thankful that at some point we were in a higher vibrational state and somehow this space got to us. Because it's not like we just got to this space. Like I had a YouTube video that was suggested to me. That's how it happened. It's like put it like this, before you even prayed to God, you were doing something else was going positive for you. Like, were you completely down and out, like you were hopeless? Were you trying to live a good life, or were you living a bad life before MGTOW came to you?
Well, basically my problem was that I was already a MGTOW. I just didn't know MGTOW was a thing.
Okay.
So, and when I became a MGTOW, it was like 5-6 years ago. I'd said another prayer to God. I was like, God, what the fuck is wrong with the world and what's wrong with me? And that's when I found the red pill. And and then I was basically for the last 5-6 years, I was a red pill loner. And then I was like, dude, I got to talk to other people about this shit. So I said another prayer. But like I said, I'm not trying to preach, religion or nothing like that.
Yeah, this is more of a universe understanding, like how God really works. It's there's nothing about scripture. There's nothing about the story of God. We're just talking about God as like a force here, So I'll put it like this. You made a change in your life, and then you were naturally living MGTOW. Right. And then years after, it was like you were without electricity out in the wilderness by yourself, but you were still more peaceful than you were as a blue pillar. You were still more peaceful than believing the lies and the bullshit that the mainstream wants you to believe in. So you divorced yourself from that world and you started to live a more spiritually pleasing life. And after you did that for some time, you got down and you prayed and you asked for the electricity to be plugged in with other men who are out in the wilderness with only fire, bows and arrows, and a sword. And then you get plugged in again. You keep raising your vibration. And then God's like, here's the internet. Here's electricity. Here's a gun. Here's ammunition. Like, go to war, Ghost. Like, go with your fellow brethren and do my work, because all you are is a vessel of mine, a vessel that I can occupy as long as you're living the life I need you to live so I can get through to you. It's all about, can God get through to you? Is your mind open? Is your heart open? Is your soul open? That's all it comes down to. And it happened for you. or else you wouldn't be here, or else I wouldn't be here, or else no one in the chat would be here.
Yeah, the only reason we're able to see the shit that we see, the only reason we're able to accept the reality of what the red pill teaches is because there's something already going on with us. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
something.
It's
I
meant.
like to tie. Yeah, I like to tie it into spirituality and religion and God. Like, I think that you have to be connected to God in a certain way, not the fucking religious God, but like the spirit of the universe. You have to be tied into that to even understand the concepts of red pill or to be able to even look at it.
For sure, man. It's like, can we say that this is destiny?
I believe that it is. I don't think
Same
that we
here.
have. I see. That's why I don't think we have a free will. A lot of people want to debate me on that, but I think that red pill men that are truly red pilled and really see the code, you were chosen. It's not a choice by us. It's we were chosen.
Yeah. And that's the thing is the creature and all the blue pilled simps, they think that they can get closer to God.
Through their own willpower.
Exactly. But the problem is this: God can't penetrate that skull of a fucking that concrete barrier that surrounds them, that surrounds their mind, their body, their spirit.
Well,
That's the
it's just
problem.
like the relationship between men and women. That's the same relationship between men and God. He can't help us unless we submit to him. So if you're pretending you're God, he can't help you.
Yep, 100%. That's the thing is, this is where I say, after having the chemistry background I do, understanding how science and God have to coexist.
Exactly.
I realize God is beyond powerful. Like the real creator, what is responsible for everything that we see, touch, feel. I don't think that, put it like this, I don't think God can physically stop these evil people from making a tower turn into smithereens. I think God kind of like winded up this world like a twist up toy. And he's like, okay, I gave you the perfect conditions. I gave you the intellect. I gave you the bodies to do so. Now have at it. You know, he can come through to us if we live a more spiritually pleasing life and we do what's necessary. Like, we can see the light, but he isn't coming in. I keep saying he, this force, this entity isn't coming in like physically stopping these evil people from doing these evil things. The only way that God, I think, can physically stop these evil people from doing evil things is if he occupies enough good people to get in the way. You get what I'm saying? I don't think God can just swoop in like a fucking cloud and catch some building from falling. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think he could if he wanted to, but I think that he'll let us suffer. You know what I mean? Like he's not. God isn't a white knight for simpery and fuckery. He'll let you suffer the consequences of your own shitty actions.
And then that's kind of like with the twist up toy sort of thing. Like he's like, I've given you all the tools and the jewels and the beauties and the nectars of life.
Right.
Here you go.
Fucking,
you know,
it all goes back to Adam and Eve. Eve is the stupid whore that chose to eat the apple, and then Adam was this first simp. Adam's the original simp.
Yep. The serpent was the first bad boy. Adam was the original simp. And
Yeah.
Eve, in my opinion, and of many others, Eve was not really a human. She was a demon. She was a demon that said, "Here, eat."
Yeah.
And that's what these.
Yeah, she ate the forbidden fruit of feminism.
Exactly, wanting to be a god, wanting to be basically in the place of the Most High, to rule over Adam.
Yep.
Exactly. That's a perfect way to put it. She was a demon then, and and that's what we have to live out as men with these creatures, with how wicked and vile they are.
Dude,
you know what they do?
Really are, dude.
It's a constant Garden of Eden scenario over and over and over. Here, eat, do evil things, go against God, worship me.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is, dude. It's fucked up.
It's the most twisted existence that we could live. And that's what they have ensured. And here's the thing. Before Christianity, before the Old Testament, where Genesis comes from, or where Genesis is, before Abraham even spoke, the word of God was spoken from the whole Abrahamic religion. Even before that, human nature was documented through the old world. So I think beyond Genesis and Eve's nature, I think there's even more detailed description of the creature and the impulses of the creature, right? We know how impulsive she is. I think there's information sitting in the vaults of the Vatican, like a cheat code, like literally how to get the creature to do this, how to get the creature to do that.
I think it probably all it is, dude, is the fucking red pill. That's probably all that's in there. It's just the fucking red pill.
Yeah, it could be, or it could be like some deep, dark spiritual, like spells that they know how to put the creature under to get her to be a mind-controlled zombie. Like there's something about the nature of women that I think they will hide from us forever. Like the nature of men were pretty simple, but women, they're double-minded. They have like two different minds in one head.
Yeah, they're fucking crazy. They're just, I mean, they're evil, bro. It's evil.
Yeah. Short. If you were to put it into 4 fucking letters, that is the shortest way you could describe a woman.
Yeah, they are the definition of evil, man. Like pride and fucking ego and fucking being overly emotional and angry and spiteful and vindictive. Like that's a fucking woman.
And when they use the things that can like that's why, you know, men always say never open up to women. When they use what you are most vulnerable over, when they use that as ammunition to dig into you, that is the spirit of the succubus. She will use words to cut you, to wound you, to slow you down, and to make you feel that you are lesser.
Yeah, and it's not like in a try to help you type of way either. It's like you can do like the tough love thing and like tell somebody something they don't want to hear. It might hurt their feelings, but you know in the long run it'll benefit them. When females do that shit, they're really trying to hurt you, like destroy you.
Yeah, we say it constructively because it's like the tough love where we care enough about that person to tell them the truth, or we have enough love for that person to tell them the truth. And it's in a genuine way, but it has to be said in order for that person or that entity to become better. Like basically it's the exact opposite. It's the polar opposite.
Yeah, because if you break it down, like all the shit going on in the world today, like, you know, feminism versus masculinity and, left versus right. It's all, if you break it all down to the simplest form, what the real war that's going on is good versus evil. Like, as cliche
Yep.
as that sounds, like that's really what is happening.
It's a spiritual battle.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And I think MGTOW is the best modern day way to defend yourself in this fucking shit.
And it's crazy you say that, because literally the past few weeks since I've been weaning myself off the creature that I was, kicking it with for like a couple months now, trying to get her to dump me, I have been feeling so much more productivity. My diet's been better. I've just overall felt Pliskin had said we're the freest of the slaves or something like that.
Yeah,
exactly. I have felt like the freest slave as I have, because this is what I did. This is kind of funny how the way I set this creature up.
It's like we've turned our prison cell into a vacation stay. That's what my MGTOW life is like.
Yes. See, what you just described is what I did since the time I was 22. I call it my solitary confinement. I've been in my own solitary confinement. I've been figuring out the world. I've been understanding myself. You know how they say, know thyself? I've been getting to know myself to the highest degree. And you feel great. That's the thing is, Genesis, it's so interesting the way they describe how long Adam was alone. Like how men can be solitary creatures and they can be fine with oneself. But the succubus, the demon, the beast, this animal, it needs to be social. It can't be alone. So when we're off in our own little solitude, when we're off in our own, on our own island, however we want to, you can describe it one way, I can describe it another. I think this is where we are supposed to be naturally, away from the beast.
Yeah, because it's being attached to the material, physical world is not the way we're programmed to be.
Nope.
Like men, like we're okay with detaching and just letting shit go.
That was perfect timing.
Yeah. And that's what it is, man, they're just, because of their position, women's position in the spiritual hierarchy, they're more easily manipulated by the temptations and the distractions. And so they're just more easily corrupted.
Yeah, they make way more compromises, and it's their emotional hardwiring, them being based on estrogen instead of testosterone, where they're always going to crave to have the emotions on a roller coaster. That's where they feel satisfaction and they derive pleasure and benefit from it. So they love chaos, because just think about a fucking person who goes on a killing spree. When he's full of emotion or she's full of emotion, it's pure evil. So they love to be on that emotional high.
Yeah.
It's like pure evil, more or less, and that's where they find the most benefit. They derive the most benefit. So
they're addicted to power and control. And peace.
Yes.
If you're addicted to power and control, you have no peace of mind or inner peace. They don't go together.
Exactly. That's where they're like a fucking train wreck.
And it goes for like simps and cucks and white knights and shit. Like they're like chasing ego fulfilling shit. You know what I mean? And they fucking that's why the fucking world's fucked up. And you know who Eckhart Tolle is?
I've heard of the name.
Well, he's a really fucking intelligent like philosopher. He wrote a book called The Power of Now, and he really talks about ego death and like death of the identity and the false identity. And he says the best way to kill the ego is with humor.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
Ego,
farting is
pride.
great.
Yes. Let them fly.
Yeah, dude. So literally the solution to this spiritual battle, our number one weapon as soldiers of the light, the Jedi Force, the Brown Eye Boys, our weapon is dick and fart jokes. That will save the world.
Well, if we're humbled by the sounds coming out of our arse, like
yeah, like
South
you talk
Park would
about
say.
vibrations, dude. There's no more pure vibration than an asshole whispering.
Perfectly put. But pride and ego is, spiritually speaking, an abomination. So when we get down,
it's playing God. Simply put, dude, the greatest sin is playing God.
yes, and that's what these fuckers love to do. But when we can get together and try to speak about what's coming and the impending collapse, and no one can get a word out because it's just buttholes and farts and wet ones, dry ones, airy
Yeah, that's why
ones.
that shit, dude, that shit's so funny because pretty much nothing we say really matters at the end of the day. It's just
No.
fun to do. So like it's just funny when people are talking and you just interrupt them with a fart. It's like that fart has more philosophical wisdom in it than anything any human can ever say.
Yeah, I kind of felt bad tonight because I was just running my shit mouth and
No, you're cool,
kinda
man. The shit you're talking about's interesting as fuck, dude.
Well, what I'm saying with for Indy last night, he kind of got shit out of the show. He was trying to say some really important points because him and I had a conversation about this on Good Mothers. He was trying to say some really important points, and it was just a bunch of farts. And then tonight, my shit mouth kind of like shit all over the stream, so I kind of feel bad.
Oh, that's all good, bro. Indy was
Yeah.
laughing his ass off last night. I'm sure he had fun.
Yeah, when Frank got on, he was just like Frank got on like super late, and then he was just like he was trying to keep his composure, but he couldn't. And I was trying to. I think everybody was trying to keep our composure, but when you and Riggs, because you're like, I swear that's not me, man. Like I don't know who it is, but then we found out it was Riggs. When you and Riggs were on it together, it was just too much. But I don't know what it was. Frank he realized that there's no point in trying to keep my composure because it's impossible at this point.
Yeah, that's the best shit ever, dude.
You have to give in to the force of the buttholes.
You do, bro. That's the truth. That's the real red pill.
just remember. And did you watch Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah.
Remember when fucking Cell was trying to get Gohan to power up the Super Saiyan 2, and he's having the Cell Juniors beat the shit out of everybody, and he's trying to find one more thing to like, tick him over the edge, and then he sees like fucking Android 16, and he's like, that's it. Just let it all go. Last night we just let it all go.
Yeah. It was just funny because like Father Saunders, he was like trying to pretend like he wanted to maintain order, but he thought the farts were hilarious.
It was it overpowered Father Saunders.
Yeah.
He was trying to play hard ass over the fucking like, playing governor over the stream, and he didn't know what to do.
Right. Well, hey, dude, we've been on here for like 3 hours and 30 minutes. I want to rub one out before I go to bed.
Oh shit, man! it's been real. I finally got to talk about this shit that I didn't want to say it on anyone's stream. I didn't want to get anyone's stream taken down, but you don't really give a fuck. So I could drop the knowledge for the boys here. So I do appreciate you giving me this time to run my fucking shit mouth. And I do appreciate you keeping me humbled with nothing but farts and buttholes.
Hell yeah, brother. Yeah, I mean, next time I do one, you're definitely welcome to hop on. And if you ever do another one, for anybody that listens to this in the future, check out Real Talk's channel. He's starting to do stuff now too. So hell yeah, bro.
Well, this will be a good starting point for people to understand what I was trying to bring to the community. I don't think I really need to go crazy and make any like more videos because you link the calculator and stuff so people can like look into this. I brought the guys' channels up so they can look into this. I just want the brothers to be as open to as much information that they can be open to because the knowledge is power. And if you know what's coming, you can prepare for it. So when you ask me, is there anything that we can do besides like take care of ourselves? No, there isn't. But this information can help you see what's coming down the line, the pipeline, or should I say the Alaskan pipeline? The shit pipeline, literally the frozen shit pipeline. That's what I would consider the hellish nightmare roller coaster that we're on. It is an Alaskan pipeline. Shit frozen into a fucking dildo or into a fucking goddamn what is it?
It's where you shit in a condom and then freeze.
Shit in a condom, and we're getting fucked with that frozen shit condom. The New World Order has taken an Alaskan pipeline and they're fucking us with it. All right.
That's a good metaphor.
So yeah, this information can help you to avoid the Alaskan pipeline.
There you go. All right.
Well, shit, talk. Man. It's been real. It's been real.
It has been. I will definitely talk to you again in the future, but I appreciate your time, brother, and you have a good night.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ghost. Peace out, brother.
All right. See you, everybody in the chat. We'll do this again sometime.
Every woman that I meet is unfaithful. Every guy in town is stuffing her puss hole. Y'all can have her, I hope you like blue balls. I'm better off alone beating